Chapter 762. Then what good idea do you have? Lan Xinxin asked impatiently. What else can you do besides making sarcastic remarks? I'm not a woman. How would I know? Wang Peifeng scratched his head. Didn't you ask Exploding Heavens? Don't mention it. He's with Xiao Chun. Lan Xinxin shrugged. I feel like I'm pushing him too hard. What? Wang Peifeng's eyes widened and looked at Lan Xinxin incredulously. Did Xiao Chun say this? You two are already doing it? Isn't it good to be tight? Oh, by the way, didn't you say that he can't do it? Or is it because he can't do it that you said so? What nonsense! Lan Xinxin was stunned for a long time before she understood what Wang Peifeng meant. What are you thinking? I say, did I force him to do the checkup too much? What are you thinking? Sorry, I misunderstood. Wang Peifeng was a little embarrassed. Can you be more serious? Lan Xinxin said. If you don't have any good ideas, go back to the outer martial arts world and continue your cultivation. I don't need you anymore. Hey, Xinxin, you're burning the bridge after crossing it. I came back to visit my family. I don't have much time, and I'm here to act with you. Aren't you too heartless to chase me away after using me? Wang Peifeng said sadly. Forget it, I won't talk to you anymore. I'm leaving. Lan Xinxin started the car. Although Xiao Chun could fly on his sword, he still booked a plane ticket. It was too shocking to use these abilities now. It was better to be normal. In Lan City, Su Chuxia and Tian Sauer's residential building had not been haunted for many days. It was as if everything before was a dream. There were no more strange things happening in the elevator, and there were no footsteps in the middle of the night. The property management company sent a few bold security guards to be on duty in the building for several consecutive nights, but nothing happened. This time, it was finally confirmed that the haunting was over. Everyone guessed that although Li Xiener didn't defeat the female ghost, she was on par with the female ghost. The female ghost was afraid of Li Xiener. She was afraid that Li Xiener would come back to deal with her, so she left. In this way the haunting ended. Many of the neighbors who had moved away came back. Some of the residents who had sold their houses regretted it. But since the paperwork was done, there was nothing they could do about it. It could only be said that Tian Suruan was courageous, bold and lucky. Of course, among these people, there was one person who was not satisfied, and that was Wu Lixing. He hesitated for a long time, and could not help but call Tian Suruan again. Hello, is this Miss Tian? After the call went through, Wu Lixing was thinking about how to get Tian Suruan to return the house to him. Oh, it's Mr. Wu. What's the matter? Tian Wangshuo also saved Wu Lixing's phone number, so he knew it was him. It's like this. Can you return my house to me? I don't have a place to live anymore. Wu Lixing said. Oh, I'm afraid that can't be done. I promised to return it to you before, but you don't want it anymore. Are you torturing me back and forth? Tian Wangshuo was a little angry when she heard Wu Lixing's voice. Previously, she did sympathize with Wu Lixing, so she agreed to return the house. However, Wu Lixing was fickle, so Tian Wangshuo was too lazy to care about him. This kind of person was obviously a person who wanted to take advantage of others, but was unwilling to take risks. It was not because he was in trouble. Miss Tian, I'm begging you. Please reconsider. Wu Lixing could only pretend to beg for money. Okay, I still have something to do. I'm hanging up. After Tian Wangshuo finished speaking, she directly hung up the phone. Hello. Wait. Wu Lixing hurriedly shouted. At this time, there was no sound on the other side of the phone. He could not help but scold. Damn, stinking bitch, how dare you hang up on me? How dare you cheat money from me? Let's wait and see. Wangshuo, who was it? Su Chuxia saw that Tian Wangshuo hung up the phone angrily, and could not help but ask. Sai, don't mention it. It's that Wu Lixing. He was the one who wanted to sell the house to me. Now that the house is fine and not haunted, he wants to buy it back. What kind of person is he? Tian Wangshuo said angrily. It's all thanks to my darling. What's wrong with me earning a sum of money from it? You really have the nerve to return your boyfriend. It's obviously fake. Su Chuxia teased. It doesn't matter whether he's real or fake. Anyway, he has nothing to do with Wu Lixing, Tian Wangshuo said. You're right if you want to say that. Su Chuxiao thought about it and nodded. But if you offend such a despicable person, don't ruin our relationship. How dare he? Xiao Chang will kick him to the southern heavenly gate. Tian Wangshuo did not care at all. Su Chuxiao thought about it and agreed. It was good enough that Xiao Chang did not find trouble with others. Who would dare to find trouble with him? However, that night, something unexpected happened. At around midnight, the two of them were sleeping soundly when they suddenly heard a faint knock on the door. The knock was very soft. If one did not listen carefully, they would not be able to hear it. However, in the dead of night, one could still hear it after a long time. Tian Wangshuo woke up to go to the toilet and felt that something was wrong. He quickly went back and woke Su Chuxiao up. Wangshuo, what are you doing? Su Chuxiao looked at Tian Wangshuo in a daze. Is it morning? But it's still dark outside. Is it smog? Chuxiao, listen. Is someone knocking on the door? Tian Wangshuo said in a low voice. Knocking on the door? Su Chuxiao was stunned. She said weakly. Wangshuo, are you dreaming? It's not a dream. Chuxiao, listen carefully. Tian Wangshuo pointed in the direction of the door. Oh! Su Chuxiao yawned. She wanted to ignore Tian Wangshuo, but at that moment, she also heard a soft knock on the door. Dang dang dang. This sound woke Su Chuxiao up a lot. She frowned and listened carefully. After a while she said, could it be someone else's house? We live in an elevator building. The knocking sounds from upstairs and downstairs won't travel so far. Also, our neighbor's house is mine now. Tian Wangshuo said. Chuxia, do you think the ghost is back? Don't talk nonsense. Didn't Xiao Chang recruit the ghost as his subordinate? Su Chuxia glared at Tian Wangshuo and said, it might be the wind. Go to sleep, don't think so much. No. Chuxia, listen carefully. It's definitely knocking on the door. Tian Wangshuo said with certainty. Okay, let's go to the living room to take a look. Su Chuxia had no choice. Since she was already awake, she got up and went to the living room with Tian Wangshuo. The two of them didn't turn on the lights, and their movements were very light. After arriving in the living room, the two of them looked in the direction of the anti-theft door at the same time. Dang dang dang. There was a soft knock on the door again. The two of them immediately clasped their hands, and their breathing became slightly rapid. As expected, someone was knocking on the door. This was indeed the sound of knocking on the door. But it was already so late. Who would be knocking on the door? And the knocking sound was so soft. Let's go and take a look. Su Chuxia hesitated for a moment and said firmly. She didn't believe that the ghost would dare to scare her unless it wanted to die. Xiao Chen wasn't a coward. Killing people and ghosts was just a piece of cake. Okay. Tian Wangshuo also agreed. The two of them tiptoed to the anti-theft door and looked through the peephole. However, they didn't see anything. There was no one outside. Su Chuxia shook her head, indicating that there was no one outside. Tian Wangshuo didn't quite believe it. He also looked outside, and there was indeed no one. Dang dang dang. At that moment, there was another knock on the door. Immediately, the two of them broke out in a cold sweat. At such a close distance, they clearly felt that the sound came from the door, but there was no one outside. What was going on? The two of them were so frightened that they nearly fell to the ground. Tian Wangshuo finally couldn't help but exclaim, who is it? Who's outside? However, there was no answer, and the knocking stopped. When she said this, she was still looking through the peephole, but there was still no one outside. Chuxia, what's going on? Tian Wangshuo's voice was trembling. Su Chuxia shook her head. She didn't know either, and she was very afraid. She forced herself to calm down and said, let's contact Xiao Chang. Yes. Tian Wangshuo immediately nodded in agreement. Outside the door, Wu Lixing leaned against the wall. The angle was parallel to the door, so he couldn't see what was happening through the peephole. He revealed a sinister smile. When he heard Tian Wangshuo's exclamation, he was secretly pleased. B*TCH, didn't you not want to return my house? I'll make sure you sell your own house to me. Just you wait. From today onwards, don't even think about sleeping well at night. I'll torture you to death. Wu Lixing was an unscrupulous businessman. He made money by buying houses and speculating on them. In the past, he would often pretend to be a ghost and knock on the door in the middle of the night. forcing the owner to sell the house as soon as possible. This trick was tried and tested. After waiting for a while, he realized that there was no movement in the house, so he prepared to knock on the door again. The reason why he was so daring was because he had scouted the terrain in advance. On the upper floors, there would be a maintenance door on each floor. The maintenance door could fit one person. Therefore, if Su Qixia opened the door, he would immediately hide behind the maintenance door. No matter how hard Su Qixia searched, she wouldn't be able to find him. Knock, knock, knock. Wu Lixing knocked on the door gently again. Just as a sly smile flashed across his face, he suddenly felt someone pat him from behind. Who is it? Wu Lijue was shocked. He quickly turned around and saw a pale woman standing behind him. Are you new here? The pale woman asked softly. Her voice was hollow, making one feel weak. It was as if the voice came from hell. Chapter 763. What newcomer? I'm the owner of this place. My name is Wu Lijue. Wu Lijue said calmly. Although this woman looked a bit weird, he wasn't afraid of a woman. Oh, I see. The woman nodded and turned to leave. Wu Lijue breathed a sigh of relief. He was about to continue to scare Tian Suru, but his gaze suddenly stopped, because he found that when the woman left, she didn't walk, but floated away. Her feet didn't seem to move. When he was stunned, the woman suddenly turned her head and looked at Wu Lijue. No, I haven't seen you. You. Wu Lijue was trembling. Where did this woman come from in the middle of the night? Bang! A flame appeared in the woman's hand. The woman suddenly floated over, only half an arm's distance from Wu Lijue. Ah! Wu Lijue suddenly screamed. He now understood that this woman was not a human at all. The flame in her hand was clearly the eerie phosphorescence that could only be seen in the cemetery. Moreover, this woman's movement speed was extremely fast. It wasn't something that ordinary people could do. What's your name? Are you a Nuing cultivator? Or a ghost cultivator? This is my territory. The woman said faintly. How long have you been dead? Why do you still have the breath of a living person on your body? Wu Lijue ran in the direction of the elevator. He finally knew that this woman was the female ghost in this building. However, he didn't know when the elevator that was still parked here had gone to another floor. Even if Wu Lijue called for the elevator, he had to wait for a while. He didn't dare to wait. He ran to the stairs of the emergency exit. He didn't dare to look behind him, and ran down desperately. Why are you running? A voice sounded in Wu Lijue's ear. Wu Lijue turned his head, and found that the female ghost was floating down with him. Big sister, I was wrong. I'm a human, not a ghost. I'm not here to snatch the territory. I'll leave. I'll leave immediately. I'll never come back. Wu Lijue sat on the ground and peed. He was really scared. Oh, are you a human? The woman was a little surprised. Then if I throw you to your death, you will be a dead person. With that, the woman lifted Wu Lixuan and floated towards the window. Wu Lixuan, who weighed more than 50 kilograms, was as light as a bottle of drink in the woman's hand. In the blink of an eye, she reached the window. Wu Lixing peed his pants. He was now sure that this was definitely not a human. This woman could float while carrying him. If she wasn't a ghost, then what was she? Big sister, don't kill me. I have children and old people. Wu Lixing cried with snot and tears. I don't want to die yet. I was wrong. There are young and old at the top? Is your family growing backwards? How do you cultivate? The woman asked curiously. No, I said it wrong. Wu Lixing blurted out in a hurry. Forget it, you're just an ordinary person. Goodbye. After the woman finished speaking, she directly threw Wu Lijue to the ground and quickly floated up the stairs. In the blink of an eye, she disappeared. Wu Lixuan scrambled downstairs. When the woman went upstairs, he naturally didn't dare to go upstairs. He almost rolled down. Out of the unit door, Wu Lixuan panted heavily and sat on the ground. He couldn't stand up. Sir, what's wrong with you? A security guard on duty came over and looked at Wu Lixuan, who was panting, and asked, Do you need to call an ambulance for you? No, it's okay. Wu Lixuan shook his head weakly. Why is there still a ghost upstairs? Don't joke around. How can it be haunted? The security guard's face sank. Now these owners didn't make trouble, and this kid said that it was haunted. How could these security guards be happy? Moreover, they had been on duty for a few days, and they didn't see any ghosts. Naturally, they didn't believe his words. Forget it. I don't have a house here anyway. I'm leaving. Wu Lixuan waved his hand, calmed his mood, and walked to the parking lot. You're crazy. The security guard scolded behind him. His attitude toward Wu Lixuan was completely different from before. Fortunately the house was sold. I didn't expect it to be haunted. I was scared to death. Wu Lixuan got in the car, and quickly started it and left. He didn't dare to come again. The woman was naturally Nie Xiaoyu. Tian Suruan was so scared that he contacted Xiao Chun. So Xiao Chun contacted Nie Xiaoyu, and asked her to see what was haunted. At a glance, she found out that it was Wu Lixuan. After Wu Lixuan ran away, Nie Xiaoyu knocked on Su Chuxia's door. After a while, Tian Suruan's vigilant voice came from inside. Who is it? It's me, Nie Xiaoyu. Nie Xiaoyu said. Young hero Xiao asked me to come. I've scared away the person who pretended to be a ghost. It's you. I've heard of you. Tian Suruan had heard of Nie Xiaoyu, but he had never seen her before. He quickly opened the door, and saw a woman with a pale face standing at the door. She was quite pretty, but she looked slightly awkward. She seemed to be exuding coldness from all over her body, and she looked unapproachable. You come in. Tian Suruan let Nie Xiaoyu enter the door. No, there are too many people in your room, and my strength is not enough. After entering, my cultivation progress will be affected. Nie Xiaoyu shook her head. That person said his name was Wu Lixuan, but I scared him away. It's Wu Lixuan. It's him. Su Chuxiao exclaimed after hearing this. This bad guy. He wanted to take back the house from Suruan, so he used such a despicable method. Fortunately you helped. He really met a real ghost. It's good that he was scared to death. Tian Suruan was amused. I'm not a ghost. I'm a yin cultivator. In fact, I'm similar to you, but I have some yin qi on me, so I look like a ghost. Nie Xiaoyu shook her head and explained. Oh, we didn't mean to make fun of you. We just think you're very powerful. Su Chuxia quickly explained. No, I didn't think so. I just don't want you to be afraid of me. Nie Xiaoyu said. Young hero Xiao has done me a great favor, so I will take care of you. I don't want you to be afraid of me. If there's anything, you can come upstairs to find me. Oh, we know. Tian Suruan smiled and pulled Nie Xiaoyu's hand. We're not afraid. We're on the same side. What's there to be afraid of? But your hand is really cold. Nie Xiaoyu smiled. Then I'll go back. You guys rest early. Thank you so much for today's matter. Otherwise Swan and I would have been scared to death. Su Chuxia walked Nie Xiaoyu to the door. This is what I should do. You don't have to be so polite. Nie Xiaoyu smiled. Tian Suruan's matter was successfully resolved. Xiao Chen had already returned to Songning. He stood under the somewhat cold villa, and was filled with emotions. Once upon a time, this lively villa gave Xiao Chen too many memories and warmth. This period of time was unforgettable for Xiao Chen. Although he lived with eldest young lady and Jean Bebe for a short time, Xiao Chen understood eldest young lady's character and character. If he missed such a good fiancé, Xiao Chen would regret it for the rest of his life. Xiao Chen cherished the ambiguous time when they were newlyweds. Although they didn't do anything and didn't confess to each other, Xiao Chen knew that he and eldest young lady had some feelings for each other. However, because of the matters at home, neither of them mentioned it. Finally, these barriers were removed, and the Quishan sect appeared. Shaking his head, Xiao Chen put these thoughts aside. He pushed the door open and walked into the villa. The hall of the villa was dark. Xiao Chen's room was also dark and deserted. Only a faint light came from the second floor. Xiao Chen walked upstairs. It turned out that Yi Xiaoya's door was not closed. When he walked over, he heard a dog barking. Then Yi Xiaoya asked vigilantly, Who is it? Old Six, it seems that only a woman lives here. Xiao Chen said in a pinched voice. Then he changed his voice. I'm so lucky today. I'm robbed of money and sex. Come on. I can't wait any longer. Yi Xiaoya shouted in a coquettish voice. Xiao Chen was stunned. What's going on? Is it a trick to lure the enemy? This woman is asking us to go in. Although Xiao Chun was confused, he continued to pretend and said, "It looks pretty good. Let's go in quickly." Yes, come on. I've already taken off my clothes and waited. Yi Xiaoya's voice was filled with excitement and expectation. Not to mention, Xiao Chun really heard the rustling sound of clothes being taken off. He was stunned. Is this for real? Old Six, this woman is so proactive. Is there a trap? Xiao Chun probed. I think so too. Why don't we retreat? Alright, Xiao Chun, stop pretending. Hurry up and come in for dual cultivation. Yi Xiaoya was a little impatient. I've already taken off my clothes. Why don't you stop wasting time? That's strange. Xiao Yi, how did you know it was me? Xiao Chun walked into Yi Xiaoya's room and saw that Yi Xiaoya's clothes were taken off to the side. She was covered with a quilt, and the invincible dog was walking around on the floor. The invincible dog stopped barking after one time. Obviously, the people in this villa are back. It's impossible for Cheng Minjing and Jean Bebe to come back. Who else could it be? Yi Xiaoya said disdainfully. You are really good at pretending. It turns out that this guy sold me out. Xiao Chun kicked the invincible dog out, turned off the light in the room, closed the door, and went to bed. The invincible dog groaned pitifully outside the door and ran away. Time flew, and it was dawn in the blink of an eye. However, Yi Xiaoya didn't bother to avoid Xiao Chun at all. She curled up in the quilt and lay beside Xiao Chun. Hey, why did you come back this time? Chapter 764. I have something important to talk to you about. You asked me to dual cultivate as soon as you came back. It's almost time for public relations. Xiao Chun laid down beside Yi Xiaoya and wanted to hug her. However, he suddenly remembered that he and Yi Xiaoya were not a couple at all, so he stopped awkwardly. I don't have the guts to do it. Yi Xiaoya glanced at Xiao Chun's hand in the air and asked, What is it? You know that the Devil Gate conference is about to start, right? Xiao Chun said. Oh, I know. It's the election for the Devil Gate leader. Didn't I say it before? The gate leader is basically a member of the Quishan sect. It's not interesting at all. I don't even want to go. Yi Xiaoya yawned dispiritedly. I might as well sleep. Sleep later. Xiao Chun pushed Yi Xiaoya. I have to go. What are you going to do? Oh right. Are you going to run for the Devil Gate leader? Have you made a decision for me? Yi Xiaoya immediately woke up and looked at Xiao Chun with bright eyes. You're thinking too much. Look at my strength. Can I run? Xiao Chun shrugged. You might as well send me to my death. Okay, then what are you going to do? After Yi Xiaoya knew the inside story, she actually gave up on the idea of letting Xiao Chun participate. She was just joking just now. Think of a way to cause trouble. I'm now the deputy director of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, Yang Jiannan. I accepted such a mission. Xiao Chun was a little helpless when he said this. After killing Yang Jiannan, I still have to pretend to be him and continue doing things. So that's how it is. Yi Xiaoya knew about Xiao Chun pretending to be Yang Jiannan. After hearing this mission, she was a little speechless. You guys really think of destroying the Devil Gate conference? Do you think it's possible? Even if it isn't heavily guarded, it should at least be filled with experts. If you cause any damage, don't even think about leaving alive. Although it doesn't seem very realistic, we still have to go and take a look. Do you know how to get there? Where will the demon sect grand meeting be held? Xiao Chun actually knew that it was even harder to cause destruction than to register for the evil cult sect master election. But he had to go and take a look. In Wutan Town, another name there is Demon Gate Village. It's a small town formed by some outer sect disciples of the Demon Gate, after they left the Demon Gate. Almost all the people there are connected to the Demon Gate, and some of the Demon Gate's activities are also held there. Yi Xiaoya said, If you really want to go, I'll ask the sect to help you sign up. Otherwise, you really can't participate in the Devil Gate festival at this time. What do you mean? If I don't run for it, I can't watch? Xiao Chun was stunned. That's not it. It's just that the number of invited guests is limited. The invitations were sent out as early as a month ago. As a candidate for the Demon Gate Saintess, I naturally have an invitation. Some of the big shots of the Demon Gate also have an invitation, but you don't. Yi Xiaoya explained. Of course, the contestants are an exception. As long as you sign up, you can go. That Wutan town, can't I go without these two identities? Xiao Chun was a little surprised after hearing it. You can go to Wutan town, but you can't enter the territory of the grand meeting. When the time comes, you will definitely enter with your identity. Otherwise, you can only listen from the periphery, said Yi Xiaoya. Then sign up. Xiao Chun didn't care. Anyway, it was just an identity that made up the numbers, so it didn't matter. And then I'll talk to the sect. Yi Xiaoya nodded. Anyway, you already showed up at the Righteous Demon Summit. Everyone knows that you are from our demonic star sect. Then, when are we going to Wutan town? Xiao Chun wanted to see it in advance, so that he could observe the terrain and make plans in advance. If he could cause damage, he could plan an escape route. It's up to you. I have nothing to do anyway. Yi Xiaoya shrugged, but the quilt on her shoulders was shrugged off. Her chest was exposed, but it was quickly pulled back. Don't look. It's not like I haven't seen it before. Xiao Chun retracted his gaze with some regret. I'll get tired of looking at it all the time. I have to keep it fresh, so that you can come to me often. Your strength is so high now. I've just reached the 7th stage of inner force after working hard. You can already kill the demon general. How can I chase after you? Yi Xiaoya complained bitterly. I'll just chase after you, Xiao Chun said with a smile. You're so annoying. What are you thinking about? I'm not talking about chasing after that. I'm talking about chasing after strength. Yi Xiaoya rolled her eyes at Xiao Chun. Hee hee. Xiao Chun laughed. Then let's pack up and leave. By the way, what about Invincible Dog? Is it at home? It can't starve to death, right? It won't starve to death. By the way, your dregs are almost used up. Can you boil some more? Yi Xiaoya suddenly thought of something. Damn, Hongzhu has gone back. I didn't ask her for more medicinal herbs. Now that I'm strong, some ordinary medicinal herbs have no effect, Xiao Chun said. But since this dog likes to eat, I'll just boil some medicinal herbs for it to eat. That's fine. It doesn't seem to be picky. Anything is fine. Yi Xiaoya nodded. Xiao Chun nodded. He got up and put on his clothes. He said to Yi Xiaoya, you pack up. I'll go buy some medicinal herbs. Then we'll leave. Okay. Yi Xiaoya replied. Little Red Pharmacy. Xiao Chun hadn't been here for a long time. Looking at the familiar pharmacy, Xiao Chun pushed the door and walked in. He didn't expect it to be open so early. But to Xiao Chun's disappointment, Xiao Chun didn't know the people in the pharmacy. It was a middle-aged man and a young apprentice. Seeing Xiao Chun, the young apprentice immediately greeted him enthusiastically. Welcome. What kind of medicine would you like to buy? I want some Chinese medicinal herbs. Xiao Chun was a little dispirited. He casually named a lot of medicinal herbs. Anyway, it was for the dog to eat, so he didn't pay much attention to it. Although the young apprentice was surprised as to why Xiao Chun wanted to buy so many medicinal herbs, he didn't ask much. He followed Xiao Chun's instructions and bought the medicinal herbs. How much? Xiao Chun asked as he took the medicinal herbs. Mister, may I ask your surname? The middle-aged man suddenly asked. Oh, Xiao Chun was slightly surprised. He didn't try to hide it. My surname is Xiao. May I ask if you have another surname with the surname Bai? The middle-aged man's eyes lit up, and he quickly asked. White Fox. Xiao Chun asked in a strange tone. Then it can't be wrong. Miss Zhu has already told me that you don't need to spend money to buy medicinal herbs. The middle-aged man said. Please sign here to confirm it. The middle-aged man said and took out a booklet. After recording all the medicinal herbs Xiao Chun bought today, he pointed to the blank space at the back of the booklet and said to Xiao Chun. No problem. Many thanks. Xiao Chun didn't mince his words. He and Hongzhu were already very good friends. Besides, although the medicinal herbs he bought today were many, they didn't cost much. They were all ordinary goods. Xiao Chun took the medicinal herbs and left the pharmacy. When he returned to the villa, Yi Xiaoya had already put on her clothes and was cooking noodles. Xiao Chun picked up the electric clay pot and cooked several pots of medicinal herbs for Invincible Dog. As for the medicinal soup, he didn't throw it away and put it in a jar. In any case, the medicinal dregs could be eaten, so the medicinal soup would definitely not be a problem. These were Xiao Chen's basic medicinal herbs. The bitter fruit was Yi Xiaoya's. By the time he finished, it was already night. Xiao Chen stretched his waist and said, "Should we leave overnight or rest for the night?" "Let's take a rest. I just broke through the 7th level of inner strength. I still need you to help me consolidate it." Yi Xiaoya pulled Xiao Chen to the bed, to go for dual cultivation. The next morning at dawn, Xiao Chen and Yi Xiaoya set off. He didn't return to the Xiao family. First, he didn't leave for a long time. Second, he was afraid that Wang Tiechia would send someone to monitor nearby. If they saw him coming back, it would be troublesome. Although Xiao Chen didn't know the way to Wutan town, Yi Xiaoya knew. Xiao Chen drove fast all the way. After a day of driving, there were no normal roads ahead, but village roads. "Why is this place so old? Why don't we build a better highway? With Wutan town's strength, it shouldn't be a problem, right?" "That's true. But I'm afraid that some backpackers and people who like to explore will go to Wutan town. This way, there will be no road. The road is not easy to walk, and there is no map. It is difficult for tourists to go there. After all, the outer martial arts world is also hidden compared to the secular world." Yi Xiaoya explained. Xiao Chen nodded in realization. It was true. If a place full of cultivators suddenly had a lot of ordinary people, it would be really troublesome. The route that Yi Xiaoya directed was very difficult to drive. Fortunately, Xiao Chen drove a Land Rover SUV, so there was no problem. After a night of driving, they finally saw a small town not far away in the morning the next day. When they got closer, they heard people's voices. The cultivators here really got up early. "Okay, just park the car there." Yi Xiaoya pointed to a parking place not far away, and said to Xiao Chen. "Oh." Xiao Chen was slightly surprised. "Can't we continue to drive in front? Why stop here? It's free here." Further ahead is the paid parking lot set up by the Outer Martial Arts Guild. It costs tens of thousands a day. Only a fool would park there. Yi Xiaoya obviously knew this place very well. "Okay." Xiao Chen smiled bitterly. He had been a fool several times before. After parking the car, Xiao Chen and Yi Xiaoya got off and walked there. Sure enough, they saw another parking lot when they got closer. The words Outer Martial Arts Guild Paid Parking Lot were written on it. But even so, there were still many cars parked here. Xiao Chen estimated that besides the nouveau riche cultivators, it was the first time they came here. This looks like a gathering place for cultivators. Back then, when I was in a town near the Hakuna Matata Desert, the situation there was similar. Xiao Chen lamented as he observed the lively scene around him. At that time, Cheng Minjing and the others had not left. In the blink of an eye, only Yi Xiaoya was left. Chapter 765. Yes, this is a town formed by cultivators. It is not on the map, and it has been many years. There is an array set up by an almighty in the town. The satellite map can't see it at all. Yi Xiaoya explained. But they are all formed in the past. The latest ones can't be seen. The satellites can capture them, and there is no confidentiality. It can only be treated as an ordinary town, and can't hold any large-scale important sect activities. An array could actually block the satellite? How powerful must the Almighty be to set it up? It was unimaginable. Xiao Chen suspected that it was done by a cultivator. "Where are we staying?" asked Xiao Chen. "There is an inn here. The price is more expensive than a 5-star hotel in the secular world, but it is not too ridiculous." Yi Xiaoya said, "If you don't have money, of course, you can go back to the car to sleep. Let's find a place to stay first, and then investigate the surroundings. I have to plan an escape route." Xiao Chen looked around the town. There were plains, lakes, and mountains. The mountains were the best place to escape. The plains and lakes were too easy to find targets. Sure. Yi Xiaoya agreed. The two of them found a good, but not the most high-end inn, and checked in. Then, they casually ate a mouthful of food, and strolled in the direction of the mountains. The demon sect grand meeting had not started yet, and the cultivators here had nothing to do. Therefore, there were many wandering around like Xiao Chen and Yi Xiaoya. No one paid attention to them at all. Just as Xiao Chen and Yi Xiaoya were leisurely, a bald fat man in the joyful clan, was furious. Motherf asterisk Kerr. He actually said that I stole the extraterrestrial meteoric iron? I, the smiling Mithria. MF asterisk King Sinister. But I wouldn't do such a shameless thing, right? How F asterisk King embarrassing is this? Motherf asterisk Kerr, who spread this news? Many people present saw it. It was Longface, and the people from the Green Rock sect who said it. A joyful clan disciple answered weakly and carefully. It must be that bastard Longfaced who framed me. The smiling Mithria slammed the table. He joined forces with the people from the Green Rock sect to deliberately tarnish my reputation. That's for sure. Yes, I think so too. Regardless of whether the joyful clan's disciples thought so or not, they all knew that this smiling Uncle Master was a person who cared about his reputation. There would definitely be no harm in going along with what he said. As expected, the smiling Mithria said, "You think so too, right?" Then there was no doubt about it. It was this horse-faced man. How infuriating. This Green Rock faction ruined my plans, and even dared to join forces with my sworn enemy to defame me. I will never let them off. Investigate. Find out the names of those brats. You must find them for me. Yes, disciple will do it right away. Since the smiling Mithria was infuriated, the joyful clan's disciples naturally moved at full speed and began investigating the identities of Xia Shibin and Xiao Chun. Previously, although the smiling Mithria was robbed of the extraterrestrial meteoric iron, he didn't think much about it. He only secretly bore a grudge against the Green Rock sect and didn't immediately want to take revenge. But now he couldn't. He had to teach them a lesson. The joyful clan had many disciples. They had many eyes and ears and channels. Soon there were results of the investigation. The disciple from before came to the smiling Mithria's room again and said respectfully, "Smiling Uncle Master, there are results." "Oh, tell me quickly." The smiling Mithria pointed at the disciple and asked, "I didn't find out their names, but there is an important clue. According to what someone saw previously, these people aren't from the Green Rock sect." The disciple said carefully, "What? Not from the Green Rock sect? Then which sect are they from? Why are they with the people from the Green Rock sect?" The smiling Mithria was puzzled. "It's like this." The acting sect leader of the Green Rock sect said that he is actually the root of this group of people. This group of people claims to be from the Kuei Mountain sect. Moreover, many people saw that after they came to the auction hall, they were very close to the people from the Kuei Mountain sect and kept chatting. The disciple relayed, "What? The Kuei Mountain sect?" The smiling Mithria frowned immediately. Although it was true that he cared about his reputation, he also knew his place. He still didn't dare to provoke a behemoth like the Kuei Mountain sect. After all, the Kuei Mountain sect was the organizer of the Demon Sect Grand Meet. They also had the support of martial arts sections. Even the candidate for the Demon Sect leader this time would be from the Kuei Mountain sect. In this case, the smiling Mithria really couldn't go against the Kuei Mountain sect. However, he was not willing to let it go just like that. After thinking about it, the smiling Mithria waved his hand at the disciple and gestured for him to leave first. Then he muttered to himself, "The Demon Sect Grand Meet is about to be held. The people from the Kuei Mountain sect will definitely be there. I'll go and sound them out first and make a decision after seeing the situation." "Come." The smiling Mithria made his decision and immediately called for people. After the disciple left, he returned to the room and looked at the smiling Mithria with some doubts. "Uncle Master Smiling, you called for me. Get ready. I'm going to Wutan Town personally this time," said the smiling Mithria. "Ah, Uncle Master, didn't you say that you weren't going?" The disciple was slightly stunned. "Why? Can't I go now?" The smiling Mithria frowned. "No, that's not what I meant. The people from the joyful clan have already left." "Master, if you want to go, you can only go alone," the disciple hurriedly explained. "Oh, that's not a problem. Pack up and follow me," said the smiling Mithria. "Ah, yes." The disciple was instantly overjoyed. It was a rare opportunity to accompany the elders of the clan on a trip. If he could receive a few pointers along the way, he would benefit immensely. Even without pointers, the cultivation resources that the clan subsidized were plenty. Moreover, If he had a good relationship with a certain elder, it was also the capital to show off in the clan. The joyful clan was not far from Wutan town. They arrived at their destination on the same night. They came to the most luxurious inn in Wutan town, the Demon Gate Inn. The smiling Mithriya was a person who valued his reputation. Naturally, he had to stay here on a trip. Even the disciple enjoyed a feeling of nobility. I heard that the people from the Kuei mountain sect are staying here too? Asked the smiling Mithriya. I'll go and find out now. The disciple hurriedly went to find out more information. Not long after, he returned and said to the smiling Mithriya, Uncle Master, I've found out that the Kuei mountain sect disciple Cheng Zhongfan, who spoke to the auctioneers at the previous auction, is here too. This person's status in the Kuei mountain sect isn't too high. What do you think? Oh, help me invite him over. The smiling Mithriya thought for a while and said, Yes, I'll go now. The disciple nodded and went to invite Cheng Zhongfan. Indeed, as he said before, Cheng Zhongfan's status in the Kuei mountain sect was not very high. If the smiling Mithriya had invited someone like Ma Wuji, he would definitely not have come. However, when he invited Cheng Zhongfan still went gladly after hearing about it. During this period, Cheng Zhongfan was very active. He went up and down, so everyone in the sect would look for him. Seeing your brother's smiling face, I wonder why you're looking for me? Cheng Zhongfan walked into the room with a smile. Although he was puzzled about why the smiling Mithriya was looking for him, one more friend meant one more path. He had to consider for the secular Cheng family. Junior brother Cheng, you're here. Sit. The smiling Mithriya smiled and pointed to the seat opposite him. Hurry up and serve junior brother Cheng some tea. Yes. The disciple quickly poured hot tea and stood by the door, observing the movement outside to prevent anyone from eavesdropping. Senior brother smiling face, your? Cheng Zhongfan saw that the smiling Mithriya was so serious, and even asked the disciple to guard the door. He was a little suspicious, and did not know what the other party wanted. Junior brother Cheng, I'll cut to the chase. We're both demonic cultivators, so there's something I want to ask you. If you can tell me, then tell me. If you can't, I won't force you. Don't hurt our friendship because of this. The smiling Mithriya said. Oh. I wonder what it is. Cheng Zhongfan thought to himself, what kind of friendship do we have? If you didn't have something to ask me, you probably wouldn't even know me, right? But he said, as long as I can tell you, I'll tell you. Good, straightforward. Junior brother Cheng, I, the smiling Mithriya, will definitely be your good friend. If there's anything in the future, junior brother Cheng, just tell me. I owe junior brother Cheng a favor. The smiling Mithriya laughed. But these words made Cheng Zhongfan's heart tremble. He just said that he would say what he could. But the smiling Mithriya used words to seal his mouth. It meant that he owed a favor. So he had to say it even if he didn't want to. This made Cheng Zhongfan secretly complain. But he could only say, Senior brother smiling face, please say it. It's like this. You may have heard that I was framed at the previous auction. The smiling Mithriya said. Oh. Cheng Zhongfan naturally heard that the smiling Mithriya was much stronger than Yang Jian's meteoric iron. But this had nothing to do with him. So he just took it as a novelty. At this moment he nodded and said yes. Yes, the long-faced man and those guys who won the meteoric iron conspired against me, pretending that I stole it. Damn it, I'm so angry. The smiling Mithriya was angry when he said this. Everyone knows that I, the smiling Mithriya, care about my reputation the most. How can I rob someone halfway? Even if I want it, I won't fight with a junior. That's true, Cheng Zhongfan echoed. But he still couldn't figure out why the smiling Mithriya was looking for him. What I want to ask now is that I heard that the people who won the meteoric iron are from your Quishan sect. Someone saw you talking together before, and you tacitly acknowledged their identity? The smiling Mithriya finally got to the point. Ah. Cheng Zhongfan suddenly understood. It turned out that the smiling Mithriya thought that Yang Jian was from the Quishan sect. But he wanted to refute, but he didn't dare to speak casually. Chapter 766. The smiling Mithriya could not be offended. But could he afford to offend someone from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau? That was even more so. The Cheng family still had to rely on them in the future. If he betrayed them now, Wouldn't they become mortal enemies in the future? Junior brother Chung, is it hard to say? The smiling Mithria asked Chung Zhongfan with a smile. Chung Zhongfan's mind raced as he tried to think of a countermeasure. After hesitating for a moment, he gritted his teeth and said, "Actually, it's not that I can't say it, it's just that it's a little hard to say." Oh. The smiling Mithria knew that Chung Zhongfan was negotiating, and it was not that he really could not say it. He immediately smiled and said, "Brother Chung, don't worry. If you have any problems in the future, you can look for me directly. This is our personal friendship." "Alright, I'll say it then." Chung Zhongfan sighed and said, "I didn't say it before because I suffered a great loss in the hands of this person." "Oh? As a disciple of the Kuei Mountain faction, you suffered a great loss in the hands of someone else? In that case, this person isn't from the Kuei Mountain faction?" The smiling Mithria's eyes widened in surprise. "That's right, his name is Xiao Chen. He's not from the Kuei Mountain faction." Chung Zhongfan did not dare to offend Yang Jiannan. He vaguely knew that Yang Jiannan and Xiao Chen had a grudge against each other, and so did Xiao Chen. In for a penny, in for a pound, in for a pound. He directly blamed it on Xiao Chen and planned to use the smiling Mithria to kill Xiao Chen. "Oh, what do you mean?" The smiling Mithria squinted his eyes and asked. "It's like this." Chung Zhongfan told him about the grudge between him and Xiao Chen, as well as the time Xiao Chen extorted 100 million from him. Finally, he sighed and said, "It's so embarrassing. My Kuei Mountain faction can't do anything to a small family's disciple. How sad. I even have to abide by a 3-year agreement." "You mean you're afraid of him? So you had no choice but to cover for him and say he's from the Kuei Mountain faction?" The smiling Mithria frowned. "That's right. That's why I was too embarrassed to say it before." Chung Zhongfan nodded. Xiao Chen is especially good at impersonating others. At that time, he impersonated the deputy chief of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, Yang Jiannan. This person is also Xiao Chen's enemy. He must have wanted to pin the blame on Yang Jiannan. "Oh, the person he was pretending to be was Yang Jiannan?" The smiling Mithria was shocked. "Yes, that's the situation. Xiao Chen is a vengeful person. It must be because you bid against him," senior brother's smiling face. "That's why he conspired with the long-faced man to kill you," Chung Zhongfan analyzed. "According to what you said, it really is the case." Smiling Mithria believed most of it. Actually, as long as Xiao Chen wasn't from the Quishan sect, everything would be fine. He nodded in satisfaction and said to the disciple at the door, "You heard it too, right? Go and inquire about this Xiao Chen, then come back and report." "Yes." The disciple obeyed and went to inquire. It was impossible for smiling Mithria to completely believe in Chung Zhongfan's words. He also wanted to inquire about this Xiao Chen and see what the situation was. Of course, he couldn't say it directly, but just hinted at it. Then, smiling Mithria said to Chung Zhongfan, "Thank you, junior brother Chung. If there's anything in the future, don't hesitate to ask." "Well said." "Thank you, senior brother." Smiling face. Chung Zhongfan was overjoyed. He didn't stay any longer. He got up and cupped his fists to bid farewell. After leaving the room, Chung Zhongfan quickly returned to his room. He took out his phone and prepared to take credit from Yang Jiannan. He successfully diverted smiling Mithria's attention and shifted his hatred to Xiao Chen. Yang Jiannan should be very happy when he finds out, right? He dialed the number, but it was not in the service area. After a long time, he finally got through. At this time, Xiao Chen had just returned to the inn. The signal in the mountains was not good, so he didn't receive the call. "Mr. Chung Zhongfan? What's the matter?" Because Chung Zhongfan dialed the public number of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, Xiao Chen and Chung Zhongfan's conversation had to be disguised as Yang Jiannan's. "Deputy Bureau Chief Yang, how are you? It's like this. I have something good to tell you." Chung Zhongfan laughed and said, "Oh, what's the good thing?" Xiao Chen was stunned. "It's like this. Today, I met smiling Mithria of the Joyful Clan. Then he asked me about you." Chung Zhongfan said, "Asked about me? What's going on?" Xiao Chen's heart skipped a beat as he interrupted Chung Zhongfan. "Deputy Bureau Chief Yang, listen to me. It's like this." As he spoke, Chung Zhongfan told him what happened previously, including how he successfully shifted his hatred to Xiao Chun. F*CKU. Mother F*Ker. After listening to it, Xiao Chun almost cursed it out loud. Are you F*King sick? Shifting it to me again and again. And it's even more troublesome than before. After all, Yang Jianan was alone, and he had the Supernatural Investigation Bureau behind him. He didn't need to be afraid of anything. However, Xiao Chen's identity was different. There was still the Xiao family. However, although Xiao Chen was annoyed, he couldn't say anything to Cheng Zhongfan. He couldn't tell him to look for smiling Mithria of the Joyful Clan to change his story, right? That wasn't realistic. Even if he said it, it would only make things worse. Alright, I got it. Xiao Chen hung up the phone plainly. Oh, Deputy Bureau Chief Yang? Cheng Zhongfan was a little stunned. Why does it sound like Yang Jianan is very indifferent? It doesn't seem to be a big deal. Isn't this a good thing? Cheng Zhongfan couldn't figure it out. After hanging up the phone, Xiao Chen immediately said to Yi Xiaoya, who was taking a shower in the bathroom, Little Yi, hurry up and leave. Something happened. Don't stay here anymore. What happened? Yi Xiaoya was a little puzzled. It can't be explained in a few words. Let's walk and talk, Xiao Chen said in a hurry. I'm covered in bubbles now. At least I have to take a shower. Although Yi Xiaoya was puzzled, she still agreed. And hurry up, Xiao Chen said. I'm going to check out first. You wait for me in the room. Okay, Yi Xiaoya responded. After Xiao Chen finished speaking, he went downstairs. Because the deposit here was not small, and Xiao Chen didn't want to leave quietly, it would affect the Devil Star sect. So it was better to check out. Shopkeeper, I want to check out, Xiao Chen said to the shopkeeper downstairs. Didn't you just check in? Why do you want to check out? Is the environment not to your liking? The shopkeeper looked at Xiao Chen and was a little puzzled. If the room is not good, there's still a better room. Oh, we have something to do at the last minute. Xiao Chen took a deep breath and said calmly. All right, but although you didn't stay for a full day, the room fee still has to be charged based on a day. This is non-negotiable. The shopkeeper said, I'll settle it for you now. At this moment, outside the door of the inn, the smiling Mithria walked over quickly. Are you sure they are staying here? Yes, according to the registration records of the Devil Sect's Grand Meeting, the Devil Star Sect's Xiao Chen is staying here. The disciple nodded affirmatively. As the fact that the white fox was Xiao Chen had long been exposed, Xiao Chen didn't need to appear as the white fox again. The registered name was naturally Xiao Chen, but the Joyful Clan disciple found out directly. He actually dares to mess with Long Face. A small secular family disciple actually dares to be so arrogant. This time I must make him a cripple. The smiling Mithria sneered. He had suffered such a big loss. As someone who cared about his reputation, how could he not get back at Xiao Chen? Wouldn't he be laughed at to death? Therefore, he was already letting Xiao Chen off easy by making Xiao Chen disabled. That's right. Cut off his legs and penis, then cut off his arms and turn him into a human stick. Let's see if he still dares to frame Uncle Master. The disciple said. Haha, Junior Xiao Chen, I'm coming. The smiling Mithria laughed and then strode towards the inn. As a cultivator, Xiao Chen's sixth senses were sharp. Although the others in the inn couldn't hear the conversation between the smiling Mithria and his disciple, Xiao Chen had heard it. His heart skipped a beat. Xiao Chen thought to himself, don't tell me they are here so soon? He didn't hesitate and made a prompt decision. Innkeeper, I still have something to do. I'll take my leave first. I'll come back to collect the money later. You can clean the room tonight. Oh, the innkeeper was stunned. It'll be ready soon. Aren't you going to wait? No. Xiao Chen had already walked upstairs quickly as he spoke. At this moment, the smiling Mithria and his disciple pushed the door open and walked into the inn. Secretly thinking that it was a close shave, Xiao Chen increased his speed to the limit. Innkeeper, I have a question for you. The smiling Mithria walked in and asked the innkeeper directly. Oh, the innkeeper's heart skipped a beat. The strength of this person's advanced demon general was revealed. He didn't dare to be negligent. What's the matter? There is a Devil Star sect disciple named Xiao Chen staying here, right? Asked the smiling Mithria. Oh, let me check. How exquisite was the innkeeper's businessman. He knew that the smiling Mithriya was here to seek revenge, but this kind of grudge had nothing to do with him as a businessman, so he didn't want to offend either side. He deliberately delayed a little time. He was being extremely benevolent, and he wouldn't hide it and offend the smiling Mithriya. Go ahead and check. The smiling Mithriya was very satisfied with the innkeeper's attitude. He was a person who cared about his reputation. If the innkeeper was hesitant and refused to do as he said, then he might be furious. But now, he enjoyed it very much and looked around proudly. I found it. There is indeed such a person, said the innkeeper. Which room is he staying in? Asked the smiling Mithriya. Upstairs, room 503, said the innkeeper. Are they in the room? Asked the smiling Mithriya. Yes. The innkeeper nodded. Thank you, Tip. The smiling Mithriya nodded and said to the disciple. Then he strode upstairs. After the disciple heard it, he quickly took out 2 stacks of bills from his backpack and gave them to the innkeeper. Then, he ran upstairs with the smiling Mithriya. Chapter 767. The shopkeeper naturally accepted it and shook his head. He had done what he could. Whether Xiao Chun could run away depended on his luck. However, it seemed that Xiao Chun knew that someone was looking for him, so he left in a hurry without taking the refund money. But how did he find out? Standing at the door of room 503, smiling Mithriya asked his disciple to knock on the door, but there was no movement from inside. He was a little confused, so he couldn't help but knock on the door himself. However, there was still no movement from inside. Quang dang! Smiling Mithriya directly kicked the door open and rushed in. In the room, the window was open, and there was water vapor in the room, with the fragrance of a bath. Obviously, there was someone in the room before, but now they had escaped by jumping out of the window. Smiling Mithriya immediately rushed to the window and drove to the street downstairs. A man was pulling a woman whose hair was still wet and running. Damn, he ran away. Let's chase. Smiling Mithriya jumped out of the window directly, and his disciple followed closely. When Xiao Chun returned to the room, Yi Xiaoya was still wiping the water stains on her body. She was shocked when she saw Xiao Chun coming in. She even teased him and told him not to look. However, in a hurry, how could Xiao Chun have time to appreciate this? Xiao Chun quickly picked up Yi Xiaoya's clothes and roughly put them on her. As for her underwear, he didn't have time to wear it. He just put on a coat. During this period, he inevitably touched some parts that shouldn't be touched. But Xiao Chun didn't have the time to think too much. After he was done, he pulled Yi Xiaoya and jumped out of the window. Hey, Xiao Chun, what are you doing? Do you want to drag me to death? Yi Xiaoya's hair hadn't dried yet, so she asked uncomfortably. Someone is chasing me. Hurry up and run. Xiao Chun said in a hurry. It can't be right. What the hell is going on? Yi Xiaoya was shocked. Is this the reason why Xiao Chun was in a hurry to check out? It seemed like he had discovered something earlier. But now, even though Xiao Chun ran very fast, he still felt that someone was chasing behind him. He turned around and saw that it was indeed the smiling Mithriya and his disciple running over. The speed of these 2 people made Xiao Chun groan inwardly. Although Xiao Chun was a cultivator, his running speed was not much faster than these cultivators. Moreover, whether it was the smiling Mithriya or his disciple, their strength was far higher than Xiao Chun's. One was an expert at the peak of the 10th level of the great perfection of the demon general realm, and the other was an expert at the great perfection of the demon master realm. Although Xiao Chun could kill the latter, the 2 of them were competing in speed with him. Xiao Chun was somewhat stretched. In addition, Yi Xiaoya's speed was not as fast as Xiao Chun's, which further slowed down their overall speed. Xiao Chun, you run by yourself. I can't run fast and I'll drag you down. Yi Xiaoya also felt that the 2 people behind her were very fast. If she continued like this, she would definitely affect Xiao Chun. So she was ready to give up. He shouldn't be looking for me. He won't make things difficult for me. You think too simply. If he can't catch me, he will deal with you. How could Xiao Chun give up on Yi Xiaoya? Let's not talk about the ambiguous relationship between the 2. Even if there wasn't, with the situation that Yi Xiaoya had helped him many times, Xiao Chen couldn't easily give up. Xiao Chen directly picked up Yi Xiaoya, carried her on his shoulder in her exclamation, and continued to run forward. Xiao Chen, you can't run away. If you know what's good for you, stop and let me cripple you. As for your friends and companions, I don't want to make things difficult for them. The smiling Mithraea was getting closer and closer. Moreover, Xiao Chen had now run out of the town and was running in the direction of the mountain range that he had scouted before. He wasn't afraid of being heard by others because there was no one nearby. Xiao Chen didn't answer and continued to run. Cripple? Unless he was stupid, he wouldn't let himself be captured. Fortunately, he had scouted an escape route as soon as he came. He didn't expect that it would not be useful in the Demon Gate conference, but it would be used in advance. Every debt has a debtor. I don't want to make things difficult for you. But if you don't stop, don't blame me for crippling your companions when I catch up with you. The smiling Mithraea said coldly. You also know that I am an upright person. I will do what I say. Although I disdain to make things difficult for juniors and innocent people. Now that you are running together, you are accomplices. Xiao Chen's female companion listened carefully. If you don't want to suffer together, persuade and stop Xiao Chen from continuing to run. This is the right way. Yi Xiaoya wouldn't help him persuade, but she was anxious in her heart. Xiao Chen, they are getting closer and closer. What should we do? Even if we continue to run, we will be caught sooner or later. You better put me down. Xiao Chen took a look behind him and cursed. F***ck me. He looked around and saw that there was no one else other than the two people behind him. He gritted his teeth and slapped his waist, summoning his flying sword. He carried Yi Xiaoya and jumped onto the flying sword, driving the flying sword towards the mountain range. Old bald donkey, chase me. Xiao Chen smiled coldly. If you have the ability, then get a jet to chase after me. You're exhausting me to death. Yi Xiaoya didn't know what was going on. When she saw Xiao Chen casually waving his sword, and the two of them flew into the sky, she was shocked. What kind of magical martial arts technique was this? She had never seen it before. How could it fly? Even with a flying-type magic artifact, only a very high-level cultivator would be able to use it. What level of strength did Xiao Chen possess? Moreover, ordinary flying instruments were flying carpets or small spaceships. How could there be a sword like Xiao Chen's? Uncle Master, they are flying. The disciple chasing behind exclaimed in horror. I can see it. You don't have to tell me. The smiling Mithraea's face was gloomy. His trademark smiling face was now gloomy. Then, what should we do now? Should we still chase? The disciple saw that his Uncle Master was angry and couldn't help but ask carefully. Chase my *s. Can we catch up? The smiling Mithraea stopped in his tracks. Uncle Master, how can they fly? How did they do it? Looking at Xiao Chen and Yi Xiaoya, who had become small dots in the distance, the disciple couldn't help but ask curiously. He should have a flying instrument. But looking at his current strength, he is at most a level 4 or level fiend master. How can he use a flying instrument? At this point, the smiling Mithraea couldn't help but feel envious. And this flying instrument looks very small. Although I didn't see it clearly, it is definitely a good thing. Uncle Master, do you mean that we should snatch it? The disciple asked with shifty eyes. Of course, even if they snatched it back, it would have nothing to do with this disciple. But if they could help their Uncle Master snatch a Dharma treasure, the sect would definitely reward them handsomely when they returned. We can't even catch up with them. Snatch my foot. The smiling Mithraea sneered and said, Go back now and immediately send a message to all the joyful clan disciples in Wutan town. Surround the corner of the mountain range and start searching the mountain. I don't believe that they won't come down after going up. This mountain range could only be climbed on one side. The other side was a precipitous cliff with an endless sea below. Therefore, it was impossible for Xiao Chen to leave from the other side. If he wanted to leave, he could only go down the mountain from this side. Therefore, the smiling Mithraea watched from afar, and then sent the disciple to find people to search the mountain. He didn't believe that they could hide forever. Anyway, there was still some time before the demon sect grand meeting. These joyful clan disciples had nothing to do here. He might as well let them do the work. Yes, The disciple responded and turned to leave, but he was stopped by the smiling Maitreya again. Wait. Send a message to the sect again, and ask our joyful clan disciples to come here in large numbers. This flying instrument is mine, the smiling Maitreya instructed. If it was just to get back at them previously, he definitely wouldn't have mobilized all the disciples of the sect. But now, for the sake of the flying instrument, he was already a little crazy. This was a good thing. Yes, the disciple quickly answered. Also, remember to keep your mouth shut. Don't say what you shouldn't say. The smiling Maitreya reminded. In this Wutan town, there were many sects that were not weaker than the joyful clan. If there were too many people, and the news of the flying instrument was spread, what if other sects came to snatch it? Wouldn't that be making a wedding dress for others? I understand. The disciple also knew that the situation was serious. He answered seriously, and turned to leave. The smiling Maitreya squinted his eyes and stared at the mountain range from afar. Xiaochen vaguely saw that the smiling Maitreya and his disciple had stopped, and heaved a sigh of relief. He brought Yi Xiaoya and landed on a towering tree on the mountain range. Phew! Xiaochen let out a long sigh. It's fine for now. That scared me. Alright Xiaochen, how can you fly? Your flying instrument is so strange. Why is it a sword? Yi Xiaoya looked at Xiaochen with some surprise. I seem to have mentioned it to you before. I'm not an ordinary cultivator. I'm a superpower user, Xiaochen said. Oh, so it was a superpower before? Yi Xiaoya suddenly widened her eyes. This sword is actually not a magic weapon? It's a magic weapon, but it's made by me. It's not very valuable. It's just a broken sword sold in a handicraft shop. Xiaochen actually coveted that piece of extraterrestrial meteoric iron. If that thing was used to refine a flying sword, it should be very useful, right? However, that material was now given to the research institute. It was not good for Xiaochen to keep it for himself. If there were leftovers after the research, Xiaochen did not mind taking some back. After all, refining a flying sword didn't require too much material. Just a small piece was enough. As long as the sword body was made of extraterrestrial meteoric iron, the sword hilt could be made of any material. But now was not the time to think about this. Xiaochen's first task was to think about how to escape the pursuit of the smiling Maitreya. Now that some of his strength had been exposed, especially the flying sword. Previously, Xiaochen's biggest headache was how to explain the flying sword. If everyone knew that he was a cultivator and came to find trouble with him to study him, then Xiaochen could only live a life of escape again. Chapter 768. But now listening to Yi Xiaoya say that there was a flying magic weapon, this was a very good excuse. So that's how it is. I thought it was a flying magic weapon that I could also drive. Yi Xiaoya suddenly felt a little regretful after listening. That's right, Xiaoyi. Tell me in detail what a flying artifact is, its uses and characteristics, its specific value, and how to control it. Don't leave anything out. Xiaochen needed to understand all this before he could disguise the flying sword as a flying artifact. Hey, you don't know? Yi Xiaoya was stunned, and then said, Yes, you didn't know anything about the martial arts world before. You didn't even know martial arts. Now that your strength is high, I subconsciously thought that you knew everything. Now that I think about it, you are still the same as before. Yes, Xiaochen smiled bitterly and said, I have said that I am a paranormal, not a cultivator. Naturally, I don't know these things. In order not to attract attention, I have to know about flying magic weapons. A flying magic weapon is a kind of magic weapon that is controlled by the cultivator's mind. The cultivator who uses it must have a strong mind that can resonate with the magic weapon. Only then can they drive it. Yi Xiaoya explained. However, this kind of magic weapon was made in ancient times. Now very few cultivators can make it, including some sects that specialize in casting weapons. They can only cast some relatively solid weapons for martial arts cultivation. They can't turn it into a magic weapon. No wonder. Xiaochen nodded. Meteoric iron was a good material. Although it was precious, the competition was not particularly fierce. Perhaps it was also related to the fact that it couldn't be used to refine magic weapons. if it could be used to refine magic weapons. I am afraid that no matter how expensive it was, it would be crazy to fight for it. But now, there was no need to fight to the end. However, Yi Xiaoya's words made Xiaochen very happy. Since the magic artifact was powered by a cultivator's will, no one would be able to find any problems with his flying sword. In any case, there was no way to power it. It all depended on one's talent. Xiaochen breathed a sigh of relief. In Xiaochen's view, this thought should be something similar to spiritual sense or spiritual force. As for the specifics, he was not a cultivator, so he could not understand it. Are we going to stay here forever? Yi Xiaoya couldn't help but ask as she looked at the rolling mountains and dense forests around them. The smiling Mithraea is still at the foot of the mountain. We can only stay here. Xiaochen sighed. He was definitely no match for the smiling Mithraea, even if it was a sneak attack. Where is it? Why didn't I see it? How do you know? Yi Xiaoya looked down the mountain but found nothing. Don't forget that I'm an esper. Xiaochen did not explain too much. His six senses were powerful, and he could vaguely see the figure at the foot of smiling Mithraea mountain. However, he did not know where the disciple had gone. Then let's not waste time. Let's do dual cultivation. Yi Xiaoya thought about it and suggested. Xiaochen did not refuse, but he glanced at Yi Xiaoya lecherously. It's daytime now. Aren't you afraid that I'll peep? If the smiling Mithraea stays here all the time, we can't go down. What can we do if we look? Maybe we'll die here for the rest of our lives. Yi Xiaoya shrugged. Besides, I'm the only one here. There are no Shenjingxian, Tang Tang, or Chung Minjing. You can only continue to look if you're tired of it. You have to look even if you throw up. Well, okay. Xiaochen smiled bitterly. What did it have to do with the eldest lady? He had not seen it. Yi Xiaoya directly took off her clothes. She was a devil cultivator. She was also flexible on the tree branches. Her movements were not affected at all. Xiaochen also took off his clothes and began dual cultivation with Yi Xiaoya. Dual cultivation with Yi Xiaoya now was actually a one-sided improvement for Yi Xiaoya's strength. It did not benefit Xiaochen much, because her strength was too low. The gap between her and Xiaochen was too big unless she caught up one day. Time passed quickly. In the blink of an eye, a few hours had passed. The disciple sent by the smiling Mithraea came back. Behind him was a group of people. Obviously, they were the helpers, the disciples of the joyful clan. Greetings, martial uncle smiling face. The disciples hurriedly cupped their fists and greeted. Junior brother smiling face. Why did you call us all here in such a hurry? What's the matter? A tall, bearded cultivator came over and asked. He was the leader of the joyful clan in this devil sect grand meeting. He was also the senior brother of the smiling Mithraea. His nickname was Old Taoist Dianlong. Senior brother Dianlong, come over and talk. The smiling Mithraea could hide it from these disciples, but there was no way to hide it from Old Taoist Dianlong. However, the rules of the joyful clan were very clear. That was, whoever found the magic treasure belonged to him. Even if other disciples helped, they would only be rewarded by the clan after returning, and would not get a share of the treasure. Of course, if there were many treasures and someone took the initiative to share it, then it was another matter. Therefore, the smiling Mithraea was not afraid of Old Taoist Dianlong robbing him of his treasure. Oh, Old Taoist Dianlong was slightly stunned. Then, he and the smiling Mithraea came to a nearby place where there was no one. After looking around, he said, If you have something to say, just say it. The person who framed me at the auction has been found. He is in this mountain. The smiling Mithraea lowered his voice. That's not right. It's just to chase after a small enemy. Do you have to mobilize so many people? Old Taoist Dianlong was stunned and looked at the smiling Mithraea with a puzzled look. Senior brother Dianlong, you don't know. The reason why I'm mobilizing so many people is that this kid has a flying magic treasure. The smiling Mithraea said. Moreover, it looks very exquisite and advanced. He, a devil master level cultivator, can actually activate it. This magic treasure is not simple. Oh, is it true? He has such a magic treasure. Does he have any background that we can't afford to offend? Old Taoist Dianlong was stunned and asked with some concern. Of course not. Don't worry, senior brother. I have investigated clearly. This guy is called Xiaochen. He is a disciple of a small family in the secular world. Although he also has a martial arts background, he is just a nominal disciple of the Devil's Star sect. The smiling Mithriya said. Such a person is nothing to be afraid of. So that's how it is. Congratulations, junior brother. You got such a good magic treasure. Old Taoist Dianlong said enviously. This kind of flying magic treasure was very rare in the sect. Even he did not have one. However, he also knew that it was useless to covet it. The sect rules were there. If they wanted to violate it, their senior brother would definitely punish them. Haha, when senior brother goes out to do something, you can lend it to senior brother. Although the smiling Mithriya also knew the sect rules, it was another matter if old Taoist Dianlong would work hard to help. Therefore, he directly gave him some benefits. Oh, really? Old Taoist Dianlong was delighted. He then nodded and said, Don't worry. Senior brother will definitely help you to kill this enemy. Then I will have to trouble senior brother. The smiling Mithriya was overjoyed. In his opinion, that flying magic treasure was already in his pocket. The joyful clan disciples surrounded the bottom of the mountain. There was a sentry post at a certain distance. The smiling Mithriya did not have to watch from afar like before. He was much more relaxed. However, he also knew that it was not a solution to just watch. Xiaochen was a cultivator. He would not starve to death in the mountain. He could simply eat anything to satisfy his hunger. If he wanted to waste time with him, it would not be a problem even for 8 to 10 years. Therefore, he waited for the other joyful clan disciples to come and conduct a large-scale search of the mountain. In the blink of an eye, a few days had passed. Xiaochen did not move at the bottom of the mountain. Every day, he cultivated with Yi Xiaoya. Other than his own strength not improving, he had a lot of luck with women every day. Or more accurately, it should be a feast for his eyes. On this day, there was another group of people at the bottom of the mountain. This made Xiaochen immediately alert. Even his and Yi Xiaoya's cultivation stopped. What's wrong? Yi Xiaoya felt that Xiaochen had stopped. She opened her eyes and asked, There are some people at the bottom of the mountain again. Xiaochen frowned. I don't know what new ideas the smiling Mithriya has. Actually, although Xiaochen said so, he could roughly guess in his heart. Probably the smiling Mithriya could not wait any longer and wanted to bring people to search the mountain. But in this way, Xiaochen would be in danger. With so many people, it was hard to guarantee that he would not be discovered. Although he could step on the flying sword and run, Xiaochen was not willing to do so. Now, he had only revealed his trump card in front of the smiling Mithriya. If everyone knew about it, it would be meaningless. Moreover, with so many people here, who knew if there would be something that could counter his flying? For example, a bow and arrow. Or perhaps, they also had flying Dharma treasures. At the thought of this, Xiaochen could not help but feel a little regretful. He thought that after he went up the mountain, he could drag it out with the smiling Mithriya. When the other party lost his patience, he would definitely leave. If he had known that this would happen, he might as well forcefully break out of the encirclement and fly out in another direction. Thinking about it, the smiling Mithriya would not be able to catch up even if he wanted to. Indeed, Xiaochen's guess was right. He saw a sage-like man come to the smiling Mithriya's side. The smiling Mithriya was very respectful to him. Then, this man asked someone to carry something that looked like a small boat. The smiling Mithriya and Taoist Dianlong boarded it. After that, the sage-like man also boarded the small boat. Then, the small boat slowly rose into the sky. It was actually a flying Dharma treasure. Ha! The sage-like man shouted. The small boat began to fly at an extremely fast speed. It casually circled the foot of the mountain twice. When Xiaochen saw this, he felt a chill in his heart. This speed was almost on par with his flying sword. The only advantage he had was completely gone. This made Xiaochen secretly complain. He had missed the best opportunity to escape, but it was useless to regret it. Now he could only think of a countermeasure. However, the only thing that made Xiaochen feel at ease was that the small boat could not rise too high. This was different from the flying sword. Therefore, as long as Xiaochen floated, the other party should not be able to do anything. However, Xiaochen's body had limited yuan qi, so he could not keep floating. Therefore, this was not a good solution. The only thing he could do now was to take one step at a time. At the foot of the mountain, the smiling Mithridates sat in the eldest senior brother's flying shuttle. He was very relaxed and happy. Eldest senior brother, I didn't expect you to come personally. You even brought a flying Dharma treasure. This time, that kid Xiao Chun will not be able to escape. As long as the joyful clan disciples did not discover them, there was no need for them to take the initiative to move. As Xiao Chun was deep in the mountains, the joyful clan disciples would not be able to find him for a while. Yi Xiaoya was bored to death. She leaned on Xiao Chun and said, I will sleep for a while. Wake me up when they come. Hun. Xiao Chun nodded and looked around vigilantly. After about half a day, footsteps could be heard nearby. 3 joyful clan disciples were walking towards them. Xiao Chun was slightly shocked. However, Xiao Chun was confident that they would not discover him so easily since he was on the tree. However, when they walked closer, Xiao Chun was speechless. This was because each of the 3 disciples was holding something similar to a handheld instrument in their hands. As they walked, they kept scanning around. Biological detector. Xiao Chun was shocked. He reckoned that it was something like this. It was very likely, and it seemed to be very advanced. The detector would not give an early warning to some small flying birds and insects. It would only flash a red light. Xiao Chun was originally hoping to get lucky. However, when the 3 of them walked closer, the detector suddenly emitted a sharp beep 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 sound. Who is it? Come out. The tall disciple who was leading the group shouted, and looked around vigilantly. Xiao Chun secretly thought that this thing was really advanced. Science was really different. He had already hidden his breath, but it was ineffective against scientific instruments. Now, the martial arts sex method of finding people was also quite advanced. However, since Xiao Chun was on the tree, these disciples would not be able to find him in a short period of time. Therefore, Xiao Chun did not plan to jump down immediately. You don't want to come out? The tall disciple saw that no one responded and seemed to be embarrassed. It's fine if you don't want to come out. Junior Ba immediately released the signal to inform the elders of the sect. They will definitely be able to find him. Yes. A disciple next to him quickly responded. Damn it. Xiao Chun cursed in his heart. He had no choice but to jump down from the tree. He looked at the 3 of them vigilantly. Junior brother Ba, who had been instructed, also looked at Xiao Chun with a faint smile. It seemed like he had no intention of releasing the signal to call for help. Xiao Chun saw the greed in the eyes of these 3 people. It was as if in their eyes he was a prey. I'm out. What do you want? I don't know you. Xiao Chun asked, pretending to be puzzled. Okay kid, don't pretend. You are quite bold. You actually dare to provoke Martial Uncle smiling. Aren't you afraid of being beaten to death? The tall disciple looked up and down at Xiao Chun and said, If you don't want to die, come with us 3. Xiao Chun frowned slightly. He was a little confused about the attitude of these 3 people. I'm just a casual cultivator who came to watch the Demon Gate Grand Meeting. I don't know any Martial Uncle smiling. You don't know? A casual cultivator? Then what are you doing here? The tall disciple asked with a faint smile. I'm just a casual cultivator. Naturally, I'm not qualified to participate in the Demon Gate Grand Meeting. I only knew about it when I came here. Therefore, I walked around this mountain range out of boredom. I hope the 2 young masters won't make things difficult for me, Xiao Chun said with his fists cupped. Xiao Chun wanted to muddle through. If he could avoid conflict with these people, then he would. From the aura that these 3 people unintentionally released, they were not weak. 2 level 3 devil masters, and 1 great perfection devil master. Even if Xiao Chun could kill them, it would not be easy to kill all 3 of them at once. Haha. Lie, continue to lie. The tall disciple sneered and said to Junior Brother Ba beside him. Junior Brother Ba, take out the portrait and let him see. Hee okay. As he said, Junior Brother Ba took out a photo. There was no doubt that it was Xiao Chun. Xiao Chun's face turned black. He appeared with Xiao Chun's original appearance. It was exactly the same as in the photo. This photo was also taken in Songning City. How about it? What else do you want to say? The tall disciple looked at Xiao Chen mockingly and mocked. At this moment, Xiao Chen immediately pretended to be surprised and opened his mouth wide. This. The reason why he pretended to be weak was that in Xiao Chen's opinion, these few people did not send a message to the sect for such a long time, nor did they force him to make a move. Instead, they were talking nonsense with him. Xiao Chen felt that there was something wrong with them, and they should be plotting something. The tall disciple did not talk nonsense anymore. He snorted and said with an unfriendly expression, "Kid, I might as well tell you the truth. We are disciples of the Joyful Clan. If we hand you over to Master Uncle Smiling Face, you will definitely die." Xiao Chen pretended to be shocked and said in shock, "Then, how can we not hand me over to Master Uncle Smiling Face? Show me the way. I don't want to die. I didn't mean to offend Master Uncle Smiling Face. This is a little difficult." The tall disciple pretended to be troubled and thought for a moment before saying, "Actually, it's not that there is no way. I heard that you have a Dharma treasure. How about this? You give me your Dharma treasure. If there is really no good treasure in this thing, we will let you go. By then we will hand over the good treasure. If Master Uncle Smiling Face is happy, he might not pursue this matter anymore." I don't have any good treasure." Although Xiao Chen said so, he was sneering in his heart. So they were coveting his flying sword. These three disciples obviously did not know what his treasure was. Smiling Maitreya probably did not tell them either. They must have guessed it themselves. And this excuse was just to take Xiao Chen's treasure for themselves. As for handing it over, it was just a nice way of saying it. "Don't King reject our kindness." The tall disciple's face darkened and said to junior brother Ba beside him, "Since he is not cooperating, we don't have to be good people. Junior brother Ba, call for help." Yes, junior brother Ba took out the communication device and was ready to release it. Wait. Xiao Chen looked afraid on the surface, but in his heart, he was thinking about whether to kill all three of them. "What? You think of a treasure?" The tall disciple pinched his chin and looked greedy. "Yes, I do have a Dharma treasure in my hand, but it is something I rely on to escape. I was able to escape from the smiling Maitreya because of this treasure," Xiao Chen said sincerely. "If I give this thing to you, and you don't keep your word and don't let me go, then I will lose my last reliance. I won't be able to escape then." "Oh, what is it?" When the tall disciple heard this, the greed on his face became even stronger. If it could escape from the hands of Master Uncle Smiling Face, it was obviously not an ordinary Dharma treasure, but a real treasure. "Senior brother, do you think the thing in this kid's hand is a flying Dharma treasure?" Junior brother Ba suddenly said. "Look at his weak appearance. It must be a flying Dharma treasure that is known as an escape Dharma treasure." The tall disciple nodded and said, "Kid, you don't have to worry about this and that. Take out the treasure, otherwise we will directly rob it. If you give it to us now, we will let you live, but if you let us take action, then there is no weight to it. If we kill you, it is your bad luck. I will only give you 5 minutes to think about it." "Well, if that is the case, then I can only respectfully obey." Xiao Chen sighed and patted his waist. The flying sword was unsheathed, and Xiao Chen held it in his hand. "What are you doing?" The tall disciple was shocked and pointed at Xiao Chen. "Do you want to struggle to the death with us?" Chapter 770. The three young heroes misunderstood. "This is my magic weapon. It is called Flying Star Sword." Xiao Chen said. "Flying Star Sword? Really? Kid, are you lying to me?" The tall disciple looked at Xiao Chen suspiciously. "Throw it over and let us see." "Oh, okay." Xiao Chen threw the flying sword over, but he did not plot against the three of them. After all, the three of them were obviously very vigilant against him. Especially after taking out the sword, the three of them were even more suspicious. It was not a good time to make a move at this time. It was very unwise. "Pa!" The tall disciple caught the flying sword that Xiao Chen threw. Seeing that Xiao Chen did not play any tricks, he was relieved and said, "Kid, you are not lying to us? This thing is a magic weapon." Holding it in his hand, the tall disciple felt that it was just an ordinary sword. There was nothing special about it. How could it be a magic weapon? I don't have anything. Look at what else I have on me. As Xiao Chen spoke, he even opened his arms and shook them twice on the spot. Senior brother, this seems to be a handicraft sword. Junior brother Ba said. Yes. The other black-faced junior brother who had not spoken before also nodded and said, this looks like a broken sword that old men and old women used to practice in the park. Damn kid, you dare to play with us? The tall disciple was more and more convinced by their words, especially when he saw a line of small words on the hilt that read, made by the Winter Seal Arts and Crafts Factory. He immediately flew into a rage out of embarrassment. Do you want to die? No, why would I dare to lie to you? Xiao Chen trembled and couldn't help but take 2 steps back. You think that's a trap? This is a handicraft. Do you think I don't know? The tall disciple said and raised his hand. A demonic aura emerged in his hand, and he was about to beat up Xiao Chen. Junior brother Ba, and the other black-faced junior brother, were also very cooperative. Their figures flashed, and they had already locked onto Xiao Chen from both sides. As long as the tall disciple gave the order, they would attack Xiao Chen. Young heroes, don't be nervous. How could I dare to deceive you in such a state? Xiao Chen smiled bitterly. This is really my treasure. Really? All right, since that's the case, why don't you give it a try and see how to use it? The tall disciple looked at Xiao Chen's cowardly look and hesitated. He thought for a moment and said, don't try to fish in troubled waters. Show me now. Yes. Xiao Chen caught the flying sword thrown by the tall disciple, then threw it on the ground and stepped on it. Humph. The tall disciple sneered. In his opinion, Xiao Chen was talking nonsense. It was impossible for him to fly. However, what surprised the 3 of them was that Xiao Chen was standing on the handmade flying sword and slowly rising into the air. Ha! The tall disciple was stunned and immediately shouted, Kid, hurry up and come down. Don't even think about taking the opportunity to escape. Believe it or not, if you dare to fly away, I will send out a signal. I don't want to run. I know it's not easy to run. Xiao Chen quickly came down. Is this really a treasure? The tall disciple looked at the flying star sword under Xiao Chen's feet in confusion. That's right. As you all know, my strength is not that high. If I were to bring out a magic treasure that is too eye-catching, I would be targeted before I could even take it out. And now, I have disguised this magic treasure as a work of art. Even if others were to see it, they would not be interested. Xiao Chen quickly explained. Damn, so it was you who disguised it. Why didn't you say so earlier? The tall disciple suddenly understood. He grabbed the flying sword under Xiao Chen's feet, and then the 3 of them gathered together to study it. Senior brother, how do I use this thing? Junior brother Ba curiously looked at the flying sword in his hand. It did not look like a good treasure. Hey kid, how do you use it? The tall disciple asked. Don't you know? I use my mind to activate it. This thing can only be understood and not explained. I can't explain it clearly. Xiao Chen said. Oh. The tall disciple nodded his head repeatedly. Naturally, he had heard of how cultivators used magic treasures. After hearing this, the 3 of them no longer cared about Xiao Chen. The tall disciple waved his hand impatiently and said, Hurry up and leave, but remember, don't tell anyone about this. Of course, even if you tell us, we won't admit it. Yes. Thank you 3. Xiao Chen turned around and was ready to leave. It was not that the 3 of them did not want to capture Xiao Chen and hand him over. However, if they captured him and Martial Uncle's smiling face did not find the flying star sword, he would definitely suspect them. It was better to let him go and let others catch him. When that time came, the person who caught Xiao Chen would not be able to explain himself. Even if Xiao Chen were to turn the tables and falsely accuse the 3 of them, the sect's elders would think that the person who captured Xiao Chen wanted to take the flying sword for himself, and then frame his fellow sect members. Let's use our minds to activate the flying star sword. Let's see who can activate it first. The tall disciple thought for a moment and said, for the sake of fairness, although he was the senior, everyone was of the same generation. Moreover, they had discovered Xiao Chen together. It was not good for him to take it for himself. Whoever can activate it first will keep it. Of course, the three of us can share it. Senior brother is wise. Junior brother Ba and junior brother Blackface nodded in agreement. As they spoke, they surrounded the flying star sword in the middle. Then, they sat cross-legged and began to use their minds to activate the flying star sword. After Xiao Chen walked far away, he saw that the three of them were not paying attention to him. So, he hid behind a big tree and waited for an opportunity to make his move. After waiting for a while, Xiao Chen saw that the three of them were concentrating. He immediately realized that his opportunity had come. Without hesitation, he directly activated the flying sword. The tip of the flying sword was pointed right at junior brother Blackface. Shwa! Junior brother Blackface didn't even have time to make a sound before his heart was pierced. Ah! What's going on? The tall disciple and junior brother Ba were shocked. The two of them instantly opened their eyes and quickly retreated, giving way to junior brother Blackface's corpse. Senior brother, what's going on? Junior brother Ba looked nervous. The tall disciple's face was solemn. He frowned and looked at junior brother Ba. He said with some vigilance, "Little Ba, tell me the truth. Did you kill junior brother Blackface? You can already use your mind to activate the flying star sword, right? Do you want to take it for yourself?" Ah! Junior brother Ba was stunned. Then his heart trembled. He knew very well that he didn't activate the flying star sword to kill. It was impossible. And senior brother said so. Could it be that senior brother was a thief crying thief? Thinking of this, junior brother Ba was very afraid. He knelt on the ground and shouted, "Senior brother, don't you know who I am? I didn't do it." "If it wasn't you, then who?" The tall disciple looked around. Xiao Chen was long gone. "It really wasn't me. Could it be that junior brother Blackface didn't control it well and accidentally did it himself?" Junior brother Ba said. "How is that possible?" The tall disciple frowned. Suddenly he thought of something. He picked up the biological detector in his hand and began to scan the surroundings. However, Xiao Chen was now very far away. He was already out of the biological detector's range, so the detector didn't respond. The tall disciple was puzzled. The flying sword that pierced through junior brother Blackface's body. The tall disciple was caught off guard. Shwa! The tall disciple suddenly stabbed into the tall disciple's body. "You! It really is you!" The tall disciple pointed at junior brother Ba, who was kneeling on the ground. His face was full of resentment and unwillingness. He slowly fell down. It's not me." Junior brother Ba was a little stunned. However, the next moment, the flying sword that pierced through the tall disciple didn't stop. It directly flew out and pierced through junior brother Ba's body. Junior brother Ba died with a grievance. He even took the blame for his death. He also didn't understand how the flying sword could fly by itself. Xiao Chen walked over from a distance. He quickly put away the flying sword. Then, he pulled out 2 sets of clothes from the 2 of them. He threw 2 fireballs to directly burn the 3 of them to ashes. Then, he called out to Yi Xiaoya, "Come down. It's all right." Oh! Yi Xiaoya had already woken up. She watched from above as Xiao Chen deceived the 3 of them. She couldn't help but find it a little funny. These 3 people are really stupid. You can't say that they are stupid. They are just greedy. We can't stay here anymore. Quickly put on clothes and find a place to hide. Xiao Chen said. Okay. Yi Xiaoya also made a prompt decision. She put on the clothes of the black-faced disciple. Although there were some bloodstains and holes, it couldn't be seen if one didn't look carefully. Xiao Chen was tall, so he put on the clothes of the tall disciple. The 2 of them quickly moved toward the depths of the mountain range. However, Smiling Methreya and the others were patrolling on the shuttle. If they were not careful, they would be discovered. It was not realistic to go down the mountain. The foot of the mountain was full of Joyous Clan's middle-level disciples, who were responsible for commanding. Therefore, the 2 of them could only move toward the depths of the mountain range. Someone is coming. Calm down for a while, Xiao Chen said and transformed himself into the appearance of the tall disciple. However, he was helpless against Yi Xiaoya. He could only make her lower her head as much as possible. Sure enough, not long after, 2 people came over. However, The strength of the two people made Xiao Chen a little worried. One was a level 3 devil general, and the other was a devil master perfection stage. With this kind of strength, it was very difficult for Xiao Chen to kill them. If they fought and caused a commotion, it would be very troublesome. Moreover, it seemed that the two of them were very smart. They shouldn't be greedy for his treasures. They were different from the previous three. Did the two senior brothers discover anything? Xiao Chen thought about it. It was better to take the initiative to greet them. Otherwise, if they passed by without saying a word, it would be too strange. Moreover, the strength of these two people was much higher than the tall disciple. He was afraid that they were senior brothers. What's your name? Calling me senior brother? The level 3 martial general was stunned. Immediately, a pair of sharp eyes swept toward Xiao Chen. Martial uncle. Xiao Chen was shocked. He hurriedly said with embarrassment, "The distance just now was too far. I didn't see clearly. Martial uncle, do you have any clues?" Chapter 771. No, you are Xiao Gaozi, right? The level 3 general looked at Xiao Chen and nodded. Yes, Uncle Master, we will go and look for him too. Xiao Chen replied. N. The level 3 general looked at Xiao Chen and suddenly shouted. Wait! Uncle Master, do you have any other instructions? Xiao Chen's heart skipped a beat, but he pretended to be calm and asked. You called me Uncle Master? The level 3 general asked. Xiao Chen was a little confused. Was Uncle Master wrong too? Aren't you coiled silk monk's in-name disciple? Shouldn't you call me Uncle Master? The level 3 general said. Because I'm not familiar with the ranks of Uncle Masters, so. Xiao Chen was shocked and quickly explained. Oh, Heaven Rumbling Joyous Clan. The level 3 general nodded. Oh, Heaven Rumbling Joyous Clan. Although Xiao Chen didn't know what was going on, he repeated it anyway. Kid, you are courting death. Who are you? Are you Xiao Chen? The level 3 general was enraged and slapped Xiao Chen. F***CK. Xiao Chen couldn't be bothered anymore. He pulled Yi Xiaoye and started running. Now he understood that the baffling Heaven Rumbling Joyous Clan must be a secret code. He didn't match it, so the level 3 general became suspicious. What a scam. If he had known, he would have spared one and asked about the situation. It seemed like he had done all that for nothing. However, Xiao Chen didn't know that the Joyous Clan was so cautious, and even came up with a secret code. At that time, he thought that with so many Joyous Clan disciples, the elders probably didn't know what they looked like. He didn't expect to be recognized. Chase! The level 3 general shouted and said to the disciple beside him. Release the signal flare and get everyone to come over. Yes. The disciple nodded and took out the signal flare, ignited it and released it. Level 3 martial generals chased after them relentlessly. Xiao Chen had a headache. He definitely wouldn't be able to outrun this martial general level 3. However, he didn't dare to step on his flying sword and fly. This was because the smiling Mithriya was still on the flying shuttle. If he lured him over, he might really be caught. He was really afraid of wolves in front and tigers behind. Gritting his teeth, Xiao Chen saw that the disciple had already released the signal flare. Thinking that the smiling Mithriya would be attracted, he could only carry Yi Xiaoye, took out the flying sword, stepped on it, and flew forward quickly. He really does have a magic treasure. The level 3 general was shocked to see Xiao Chen escape. However, given his speed, he would not be able to catch up. As expected, the signal flare attracted the attention of the old Taoist Dian Long, the smiling Mithriya, and the eldest brother. There's movement over there. Smiling Mithriya pointed in the direction of Xiao Chen and shouted. If he can escape. The eldest senior brother quickly urged the flying shuttle to fly in the direction of the signal flare. After flying for a while, the smiling Mithriya shouted. Look, they are over there. This flying magic treasure is very rare. It seems to be very small. The eldest senior brother looked at Xiao Chen, who was not far away, and was somewhat shocked. However, there was still some distance between them. For the time being, he couldn't see clearly what it was. Congratulations, smiling junior brother. You got such a high-level magic treasure. The old Taoist Dian Long said with envy. Although he already knew that it was a flying magic treasure, seeing such a small appearance was still very envious. However, with their seniority, it was impossible for them to do such a thing. They could only think about it. Haha, in the future, eldest senior brother and senior brother Dianlong can borrow it from me. We can all use it together. The smiling Mithria smiled proudly, as if the flying sword was already his. That's not necessary. I already have a flying shuttle. However, smiling face, it's good that you can lend it to the sex's senior and junior brothers. I didn't come all the way to help you in vain. The eldest senior brother nodded. Thank you, eldest senior brother. The smiling Mithria was really grateful for the selfless spirit of the eldest senior brother. But it's a bit difficult to catch up with the other party. The eldest senior brother's face was very cold. The speed of Xiao Chen's flying magic treasure was not inferior to his flying shuttle. Thinking of this, he had to concentrate and control it with all his strength. So he said, "Don't talk to me. I want to focus on the pursuit." Yes. The smiling Mithria and the old Taoist Dianlong hurriedly said yes. Originally, Xiao Chen saw that the speed of the flying shuttle behind him was basically the same as his. In other words, it wouldn't be able to catch up with him for a while. But just as he was relieved, he saw the flying shuttle accelerate. Xiao Chen was shocked. This thing could also accelerate. However, the flying shuttle could accelerate, but Xiao Chen couldn't. The material of this flying sword was too garbage. The current speed was already the limit. Xiao Chen, they're catching up. What should we do? Yi Xiaoya was somewhat worried. Damn, why am I so unlucky recently? Xiao Chen cursed. He kept looking left and right, looking for a chance to escape. According to this method of pursuit, unless Xiao Chen flew deep into the mountains, but after crossing the mountains was the sea. Continuing to fly into the sea was tantamount to courting death. Xiao Chen's elemental qi would be exhausted and he would fall. At that time, he and Yi Xiaoya would die. But Xiao Chen didn't dare to change direction and fly in the direction of the city. Now it was broad daylight. If he was seen by a lot of people, they would call the police and call for bombers and fighter jets to be shot down as unidentified flying objects. That would be the end of him. Boy, you can't fly faster than us. If you know what's good for you, quickly stop. The smiling Mithria saw that the eldest senior brother's forehead was densely covered with sweat in order to help him catch up with Xiao Chen. He was somewhat worried, so he couldn't help but shout, "If you stop now and hand over the magic treasure, I won't kill you." When he said not to kill, he just wanted to keep Xiao Chen alive. However, he must cripple Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen wouldn't believe him. He continued to fly forward desperately, but after flying for less than a minute, Xiao Chen couldn't hold it anymore. The speed of the pursuers was too fast. Xiao Chen had no choice but to take the risk and fly to the sea. He now hoped that there would be a foothold like an island in the sea, although this hope was somewhat slim. "Yo, why are you flying to the sea?" Yi Xiaoya was suddenly shocked. "If he dares to chase, then come. I don't believe that he dares to waste time with me." Xiao Chen was also desperate. He didn't believe that the flying shuttle of the smiling Mithria could fly continuously. If it couldn't, then when they saw Xiao Chen flying to the sea, they would certainly not dare to chase. However, what made Xiao Chen regretful was that he flew to the sea, but the flying shuttle was still chasing him. Little did he know that the eldest senior brother was now in a frenzy. In his eyes, there was only Xiao Chen. The scenery around him was all floating clouds. He didn't notice that below him was already a vast sea. The smiling Mithria and the old Taoist Dianlong were surprised. They wanted to ask the eldest senior brother, but they were afraid to disturb him. There was no way they could only worry. Because of the eldest senior brother's full concentration, the distance between the two was getting closer and closer. In fact, Xiao Chen's current distance was already within the attack range of the smiling Mithria and the old Taoist Dianlong. As long as the two of them used their full strength, they could beat Xiao Chen down. However, they didn't dare. After all, below them was the sea. If they beat Xiao Chen down, it didn't matter if Xiao Chen died, but the flying magic weapon would also sink into the sea. Although they were all top-notch devil general expert cultivators, in front of the vast ocean, they were also powerless. It was said that in ancient times, only the masters of the sea-splitting stage could open a gap in the sea. However, this level no longer existed now. That was the strength of the legendary characters with great magical power. Smiling junior brother. Even if we catch up here, it's not easy to make a move. If we try to snatch it, then when Xiao Chun falls into the sea, the magic weapon will also fall down. How can we salvage it? The old Taoist Dian Long looked at the smiling Mithriya with some difficulty. The smiling Mithriya was shocked. Yes, previously they only thought that they couldn't easily attack within the attack range. But even if they really caught up, they couldn't attack. If they really fell into the sea, let alone a person and a small flying magic weapon, even a big ship would be difficult to determine the direction and salvage it. Mother ***, this kid is really cunning. The smiling Mithriya scolded. What should we do now? He must have done it on purpose. There's no need to think about it, it must be. The old Taoist Dian Long said angrily. We have to think of a way. There seems to be an island in front. The smiling Mithriya was also very worried. Suddenly his eyes lit up. He pointed to a black spot not far away and said, that is a small island. Let's wait for Xiao Chun to arrive at the island. We will calculate the time and attack him together. Then, we will hit him on the island. Even if we can't accurately land on the island, it must be nearby. It shouldn't be difficult to find him. That's right. The old Taoist Dian Long nodded. The two of them confirmed the plan and began to calculate the distance between Xiao Chun and the island. Finally, when they saw that it was about time, the two of them suddenly attacked Xiao Chun. Big Palm of Joy. Dragon Yang Wave. The two's moves were very strange. The smiling Mithriya's hand suddenly stretched out. A shadow of a hand enlarged in the air. Then, it shrouded the top of Xiao Chun's head and slapped down. The old Taoist Dian Long's Dragon Yang Wave was a tornado-like shockwave that spun towards Xiao Chun. One slapped down, and the other disturbed Xiao Chun's advance. He was caught in the middle of the shockwave. Just like a tornado, he would be able to smash Xiao Chun to the island below. Xiao Chun didn't think that the two of them would really dare to make a move. He was shocked. He quickly used his Yuan Qi to protect himself and Yi Xiaoya. But the other party was too strong. He didn't have time to make other countermeasures. He was slapped down and fell rapidly. Yi Xiaoya screamed. Fortunately, the goal of the two of them was to slap Xiao Chun down and not to kill him. Their moves were calculated. It also seriously affected the power of their attacks. Therefore, the two of them were only slightly injured. It was not fatal. All of this happened too fast. Before Xiao Chun could regain control of the flying sword, he felt a burning hot airflow coming straight up from below. Chapter 772. Xiao Chun looked down instinctively and nearly went crazy from fright. It's ** King Island down there. Of course, it would be fine if it was just a small island. This was a small island formed by the eruption of an undersea volcano. He and Yi Xiaoya fell right into the volcano cave in the middle of the crater. Xiao Chun could even see the rolling magma below. Xiao Chun noticed that something was wrong. Yi Xiaoya naturally noticed it too. She couldn't help but exclaim, Xiao Chun, are we going to jump into the volcano and kill ourselves? Gosh! Xiao Chun was a little speechless. At this time, Yi Xiaoya was still in the mood to joke. Taking a deep breath, Xiao Chun hurriedly wanted to control the flying sword. However, he was shocked to find that the flying sword was no longer under his feet. After being hit just now, he had converted the primordial qi that controlled the flying sword to protect his body. He didn't know where the flying sword went. It was too late to find it. Without a choice, Xiao Chun could only continue to use primordial qi to protect his body. Master, let me out! Just as Xiao Chun closed his eyes and was about to use primordial qi to protect him and Yi Xiaoya, the voice of the flame of the underworld came from his mind. Oh! Xiao Chun was stunned. He didn't have time to think about it and released the flame of the underworld. After Nethery came out, it began to spread around Xiao Chun and Yi Xiaoya. In an instant, it formed a spherical shroud that surrounded the two of them. This is... Yi Xiaoya was shocked. Although the two of them were surrounded by flames, they didn't feel the heat. It's okay. We're on the same side. Xiao Chun comforted her. Then he was also happy. If Yi Xiaoya was watching from the outside, she would be even more surprised. Around the fire of the underworld, the originally hot flames automatically moved to the side, as if they had a mind of their own, and did not dare to approach, as if they were afraid of being devoured by the fire of the underworld. Surrounded by the flames of the underworld, Xiao Chun and Yi Xiaoya continued to descend. They didn't know how deep the volcano was, but for the time being, they weren't in any danger. Thinking about it, Xiao Chun also understood. The flame of the underworld was a heavenly flame. Although the magma produced by the volcano was hot, it could not be compared to the heavenly flame. Therefore, Xiao Chun and Yi Xiaoya did not feel any discomfort. One of us? Yi Xiaoya was a little surprised. You mean the fire around you? Yeah, his name is Nethery. He's my subordinate, Xiao Chun said. It's a heaven and earth unusual flame. Have you heard of it? What? You actually subdued a heavenly flame and made it your subordinate? Is that true? Yi Xiaoya's eyes widened. She looked at the blue flames around her in disbelief. Isn't the heavenly flame an existence that cannot be subdued? If Xiao Chun fell in, can he still survive? What do you think? The big senior brother glared at him. Then isn't the flying magic treasure? The old Taoist Dian Long looked at the empty crater around and said weakly. He also fell in. The big senior brother snorted coldly. You two really can't do anything right, but only spoil things. After chasing for so long in vain, in the end, it was all for naught. Then what should we do now? The smiling Methreya asked with some regret. What else can we do? Go back. Otherwise, do you still want to jump down to find him? The big senior brother said angrily. Of course not. The smiling Methreya shivered. This was surging magma. Not to mention a demon general like him. Even a cultivator of a higher level would be burnt to ashes if he fell into it. The big senior brother shook his head and urged the flying shuttle to turn back. Under the volcano, Xiao Chun and Yi Xiaoya looked around randomly. This seemed to be some kind of ruins. On the stone wall, there were some incomprehensible symbols and words. There won't be any treasure here, right? Yi Xiaoya asked. It's hard to say. Xiao Chun frowned. If this was a ruin, then there might really be something good inside. Let's look for it. Okay, I love exploring. Yi Xiaoya was not nervous at all. She didn't think as much as Xiao Chun. Xiao Chun also agreed. Since they were here and couldn't go up for the time being, it was better to look here. Maybe there was a glimmer of hope at the end of the tunnel. There seems to be a door here. Yi Xiaoya suddenly pointed to the stone wall not far away and said. Xiao Chun looked in the direction she pointed and saw a vague door. It seemed to be painted on the stone wall. If he didn't look carefully, he wouldn't notice it. He walked over and pushed it, but found that it didn't move. There should be a mechanism. As Xiao Chun spoke, he started searching the surroundings. Looking around, he saw a slightly sunken square groove. Xiao Chun touched it gently, and was basically certain that it was a mechanism. That's right. Xiao Chun pressed it hard, but there was no reaction. Just when Xiao Chun was puzzled, suddenly there was a rumbling sound on the stone wall. Suddenly, the stone door opened slowly, revealing a new room. Then a rich heaven and earth spiritual chi rushed out. If he didn't guess wrong, this should be some cave ruins. Such a rich spiritual chi. Although spiritual chi didn't have much effect on ordinary cultivators, Yi Xiaoya, as a fire devil cultivator, could still feel it. Yes, let's go in and have a look, Xiao Chun said, and took the lead to enter the cave. After entering, he was a little shocked. He saw that on the wall of the room, there were countless fiery red crystals inlaid. They looked similar to spiritual jade, and the aura they exuded was very similar to that of spiritual jade. However, the difference was that they exuded a hot aura. Chapter 773. Dual cultivation is not possible for the time being. I have to practice by myself first. This is also good for me to improve my strength. Xiao Chun said. All right then. Yi Xiaoya had some hidden bitterness. Before starting his cultivation session, Xiao Chun carefully inspected the entire stone chamber. There was a stone table, a stone chair, and a stone bed within the stone chamber. Judging by the state of the place, It was likely that a certain cultivator had once lived here. However, there were no magic weapons or books, which made Xiao Chen feel very regretful. He thought that he could pick up some things. However, it was impossible to say that someone had been here before. After all, the fire crystals inlaid on the wall were still there. If someone had been here, they would have taken them away and not left here. So thinking about it, it was estimated that the people here left on their own. The two of them prepared for a while. Then they prepared to sit cross-legged and start practicing. To Xiao Chen's surprise, Yi Xiaoya quickly took off her clothes before practicing. She took off her clothes and sat cross-legged, trying to communicate with the fire's spiritual energy. "What are you doing? Why are you taking off your clothes while practicing?" Xiao Chen was a little speechless. He looked up and down greedily, but because the light in the stone room was dim, it was completely relying on the light emitted by the fire crystals. Moreover, the angle where Yi Xiaoya sat, Xiao Chen couldn't see clearly at all. It was just that the more obscure it was, the more tempting it was. Xiao Chen took a deep breath and turned his head. The urgent matter was not to see Yi Xiaoya, but to seize the time to practice. Xiao Chen knew that the only thing that mattered was to improve his strength. The smiling Mithria saw him fall into the volcano and left temporarily. When he found out that Xiao Chen was not dead, he would definitely continue to pursue. So if Xiao Chen had the strength, he didn't have to be afraid of him. "I'm used to it," Yi Xiaoya said, "and it's too hot here. I'm sweating all over with my clothes on." Xiao Chen nodded and said no more. He began to use the Stealing Heaven's Fortune battle art, and began to crazily absorb the heaven and earth aura emitted by the fire crystal. It was too abundant. Xiao Chen sucked in a mouthful of spiritual qi. He was like a smoker who was addicted to smoking, sucking in mouthfuls of spiritual qi greedily. The spiritual energy that entered Xiao Chen's body was different from the spiritual energy from the spiritual jade. This spiritual energy was a little hot, but Xiao Chen could still endure it. Compared to the soothing impact of the spiritual energy on his meridians, that little bit of heat was negligible. After the spiritual energy circulated through his body, it gathered in his dantian and was absorbed by Xiao Chen. Time flew by. Cultivation had no sense of time. However, to Xiao Chen's surprise, although the fire-type spiritual energy here was scorching hot, it seemed to be endless. Xiao Chen didn't need to cherish it at all. Instead, he madly absorbed it. This was the first time he was able to absorb the heaven and earth aura so refreshingly since he started cultivating. At this moment, he really wanted to thank the smiling Mithria. If he hadn't been beaten down, he wouldn't have found such a good place. Yi Xiaoya also seemed to be very satisfied. The speed of cultivation here was much faster than the outside world. The only thing that made her a little unhappy was that she couldn't dual cultivate with Xiao Chen. If she could dual cultivate with him, the speed would be more than twice as fast as it was now. The peak of the third level of Foundation Establishment Realm, the fourth level of Foundation Establishment Realm, the peak of the fourth level of Foundation Establishment Realm. Xiao Chen's strength soared all the way. He didn't know how much time had passed. It might have been a week, or it might have been a month. There was no night or day here. Xiao Chen's mobile phone had already run out of battery, so he couldn't judge the time. Phew. Xiao Chen opened his eyes and glanced at Yi Xiaoya, who was concentrating on cultivating beside him. His heart couldn't help but burn with an evil fire. He had an impulse to execute her on the spot. It must be because it was too hot. Xiao Chen took a deep breath and moved his head to the other side with difficulty. His gaze stopped on the stone bed. At this moment, Xiao Chen's strength was already at the peak of the fifth level of Foundation Establishment Realm. He didn't know why, but he suddenly wanted to stop. He also had an impulse to go to the stone bed and investigate. He didn't know where this idea came from. In any case, if he didn't take action, he definitely wouldn't be able to concentrate on cultivating. After hesitating for a moment, Xiao Chen got up and walked to the edge of the stone bed. He studied it carefully. The stone bed was bare, and there was nothing special about it. Moreover, the surrounding heaven and earth aura was the same as anywhere else. There was nothing special about it. Why did he have to study this bed? Xiao Chen couldn't figure it out. He looked at the bed and wanted to turn around to cultivate, but he just couldn't calm his heart down. He forced himself to go back to his original position and meditate. He closed his eyes and circulated the mantra, but he still couldn't absorb the heaven and earth aura freely like before. It was as if he was tired of this matter and had to study the stone bed. Without a choice, Xiaochen stood up again. He walked to the front of the stone bed and carefully examined it. This time, Xiaochen found something different. At the edge of the stone bed, there seemed to be a small gap. Although it was very shallow, if one looked carefully, they could still see it. Xiaochen reached out to touch the gap. He used a little force, but he didn't find anything. It shouldn't have been opened by brute force. This gap didn't have anything to borrow force from. It wasn't very realistic to use his hands to forcefully open it. Unless Xiaochen smashed the stone bed. But that wouldn't be in line with his original intention. In his opinion, there should be some kind of mechanism nearby. Thinking of this, Xiaochen looked around. Sure enough, at the foot of the bed, Xiaochen saw a small groove. It was the same as the door outside. The mechanism here wasn't very difficult to find. It didn't seem to be deliberately making things difficult for people. Xiaochen pressed the groove. After a while there was a clicking sound. A layer of stone slabs on the stone bed slowly rose. Originally, Yi Xiaoya was focused on her cultivation. Even if Xiaochen walked back and forth a few times, it didn't affect her. After all, Xiaochen's movements were very light. But now, the sound of the stone bed woke her up. She looked strangely at the slowly rising stone slabs. Just as she was about to ask what Xiaochen was doing, the next moment, Yi Xiaoya saw a red mist rushing towards Xiaochen. It directly entered Xiaochen's head. This sudden change gave her a shock. She looked at Xiaochen in panic and said, "Xiaochen, what's wrong? What are you doing?" Xiaochen also screamed. He also saw a red mist rushing towards him after the stone bed opened. However, he didn't have time to dodge, and the mist invaded his body. He only felt that his mind was burning, and in an instant it went blank. Wahahaha, I've finally been reborn. Kid, thank you for providing me with a body. I'll help you take care of your woman. Ga. The voice was originally very proud, but it suddenly stopped. It was replaced by another voice. This disciple really worries me. Luckily I have some ability. Otherwise, this silly boy would have been possessed by someone else. Chapter 774. What happened to me just now? That was Xiaochen's original voice. Idiot, you were possessed. Elder Heaven Ancestor said angrily. Are you stupid? Tell me, are you stupid or not? Why did you open the coffin for no reason? Do you have nothing better to do? That's a coffin? Xiaochen was startled. Nonsense, don't you see that there are still bones in there? Elder Heaven Ancestor said angrily. If I hadn't been vigilant, that bastard would have succeeded, and I would have to fight with him for the rest of my life. Xiaochen looked under the stone bed, and sure enough, there was a pile of scattered human bones. It was weathered, and he couldn't tell its age. However, there was a small rectangular box next to the bones. He didn't know what it was, but it looked like a treasure. Xiaochen was overjoyed. It seemed that he didn't open the coffin for nothing. He was about to pick it up, but then he remembered what happened just now, and he didn't dare to act rashly. Xiaochen, what happened to you just now? Why did you imitate several people's voices? Yi Xiaoya asked in confusion. Oh, it's nothing. Xiaochen shook his head, and was about to ask Elder Heaven Ancestor if he could move the box under the stone bed, when he suddenly felt something like a flame exploding in his body. Xiaochen let out a blood-curdling scream. He felt as if all the meridians in his body were about to boil in an instant. That ball of flame started to circulate around his body. Xiaochen screamed again and again. The clothes on his body were vaporized, and not even ashes were left. His entire body had turned into a scarlet-red color. It was very frightening. Xiaochen's eyes were red, and he was running in the stone room. At this moment, his mind was not clear, and he didn't even know what he was doing. Hey kid, don't be impulsive, don't run around. Elder Heaven Ancestor's anxious voice sounded in Xiaochen's mind, but Xiaochen turned a deaf ear. It wasn't that he didn't want to listen, but he couldn't hear it anymore. He had become unconscious. Elder Heaven Ancestor didn't have a choice. If this continued, Xiaochen would die. He could only grit his teeth and decide to possess Xiaochen again. However, to his disappointment, he had just possessed Xiaochen's body once, and he had even helped Xiaochen destroy the soul that came out of nowhere. Now he no longer had the physical strength and vitality to complete a second possession. Xiaochen, what are you doing? Yi Xiaoya saw Xiaochen walking around in the stone room in pain. She was shocked and didn't know what to do. But seeing Xiaochen in pain, Yi Xiaoya hesitated for a moment and couldn't help but chase after Xiaochen and hug him. Xiaochen, wake up, what's wrong with you? Although Xiaochen's body was frighteningly hot, Yi Xiaoya was a fire-type devil cultivator. This degree of heat, especially through Xiaochen, was not enough to do anything to her. He felt like he was being hugged by a soft body, and the heat in his body seemed to be transmitted to her. Xiaochen felt a burst of comfort and subconsciously hugged Yi Xiaoya. Yi Xiaoya let out a moan, and her whole body was pushed to the ground by Xiaochen. Xiaochen's actions at the moment were completely meaningless. He felt that he was very hot, and what he had to do now seemed to be able to alleviate it. Yi Xiaoya screamed, and her whole body trembled in pain. Xiaochen was completely unconscious at the moment, so he didn't know what gentleness and tenderness were. Yi Xiaoya was a little upset. Why did my first time happen in this situation? She had fantasized many times before. Although she knew that the person she was going to dedicate herself to was Xiaochen, she didn't expect it to be like this. What she imagined was that after the dual cultivation was over, they would be lying on the same bed, and then they would be aroused, and then, however, Yi Xiaoya didn't regret it. As long as it could alleviate Xiaochen's pain, it didn't matter if she felt a little uncomfortable. Moreover, it wasn't really very uncomfortable. Gradually, Yi Xiaoya closed her eyes and began to enjoy it. This was because she found that this seemed to be able to improve her cultivation more than dual cultivation. Feeling a steady flow of fiery demonic energy into her body, Yi Xiaoya quickly circulated her energy to resolve it. What happened next seemed to be no different from dual cultivation. It was still the mutual circulation of vitality, and it was twice the result with half the effort. Yi Xiaoya even thought that if she knew it would be so fast, she would have seduced Xiaochen earlier and let him push her. As time passed, Xiaochen slowly became sober from a state of insanity. When he realized what he was doing, he was instantly dumbfounded. He did Yi Xiaoya just like that? He wasn't ready yet. Although he had gone through fire and water with Yi Xiaoya, Xiaochen also knew that the two of them would develop into a relationship sooner or later. Otherwise, they would be naked together every day. If he let Yi Xiaoya be with other men, Xiaochen wouldn't be comfortable. But wasn't it a little too fast now? And it was even in this environment. But then, he thought of something and felt something. Although it was unconscious before, the mantra had been circulating, including now. After the flame exploded in Xiaochen's body, it turned into a mass of fiery vitality that surged throughout his body. He and Yi Xiaoya's dual cultivation led the hot part of the fiery vitality into Yi Xiaoya's body, turning it into energy for Yi Xiaoya to improve her strength. As for the original vitality, it was transformed and absorbed by Xiaochen. He didn't know if it was because he had pushed down Yi Xiaoya, but Xiaochen suddenly discovered that his strength had suddenly jumped from the peak of the 5th level of the Foundation Establishment stage to the peak of the 10th level of the Foundation Establishment stage. He was only one step away from the peak of the Foundation Establishment stage. Xiaochen could be said to have stepped into the state of the half-step Golden Core stage. This kind of speed of leveling up suddenly scared Xiaochen. He quickly asked the Elder Heaven Ancestor, "Elder Heaven Ancestor, am I taking the elevator to level up?" The person who wanted to take over your body, the previous owner of this stone room, was a cultivator with fire spiritual roots. He had set up a very advanced bewildering array in this room. Any fire cultivator who had reached the peak of the 5th level of the Foundation Establishment stage would unknowingly lose their minds and open the coffin on the stone bed, allowing him to take over their bodies. Elder Sky said, "Oh, but I'm not a cultivator without an attribute?" Xiaochen was a little puzzled. A cultivator without an attribute is the best target for possession. He can create a constitution of any attribute. Elder Heaven Ancestor said. It seems like I've become Tripitaka's flesh. Xiao Chun sighed. More or less. Before he passed away, he retained a portion of his strength and vitality, waiting for it to circulate in your body after he took over your body, completely refining your constitution into a fire attribute for his use. However, I interfered with it, causing his soul to scatter, but that strength and vitality remained in your body. Elder Heaven Ancestor explained. Because you don't have his mantra, you can't refine the strength and vitality of the fire attribute. Fortunately, you brought a fire-type demonic cultivator as a friend. Then, the fire element in your fire attribute vitality was dissolved, and the vitality was absorbed by you. That's my teammate, okay? How did it become a friend in your mouth? Xiao Chun didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Elder Heaven Ancestor, you really don't know how to respect your elders. Did I say something wrong? Then what are you doing? Elder Heaven Ancestor asked curiously. Forget it. I don't want to talk to you anymore. Xiao Chun directly ignored Elder Heaven Ancestor and continued to work with Yi Xiaoya to improve their strength. Aha! Yi Xiaoya suddenly screamed. I'm going to faint. Lil Yi, the way you call me is really special. Why do you keep calling me? What are you screaming for? I leveled up. I've become a demonic cultivator, Xiao Chun, did you know that? Yi Xiaoya said in surprise. I'm about to become a demonic cultivator. What's so strange about that? Xiao Chun shrugged. Then hurry up and continue. Yi Xiaoya saw that Xiao Chun was not moving, and immediately became anxious. I'm a little regretful now. Chapter 775. The two of them cultivated for a while until all the fire crystals in the stone room dimmed, and no longer emitted energy. Only then did Xiao Chun get up from Yi Xiaoya's body. Hey, are you done? Yi Xiaoya looked at Xiao Chun strangely. I heard that after a man does it, isn't it only done? What do I have to do? Xiao Chun was taken aback. Just make it. Yi Xiaoya said. Oh, I'm afraid that you'll get pregnant. Besides, aren't we dual cultivating? It's not like it's just that, Xiao Chun said. Oh, but don't you feel uncomfortable? Yi Xiaoya was a little puzzled. It's nothing. Xiao Chun shook his head. He didn't just do it with Yi Xiaoya because of the desire between a man and a woman, but to release the fire poison in his body. These happened to be beneficial to Yi Xiaoya, so both of them improved their strength. However, these dim fire crystals weren't very helpful to Xiao Chun in the later stages. So Xiao Chun's strength was still stuck at the peak of the 10th level of the Foundation Establishment realm. Yi Xiaoya, on the other hand, was much more powerful. She was now a 3rd-level Devil Master. Why don't you do it with me for a while? It's simply too good. Yi Xiaoya said reluctantly. Ah! Xiao Chun was taken aback. Don't misunderstand. I mean, it's too good to level up. Yi Xiaoya's face turned red. There's no sense of accomplishment. I won't do it anymore, Xiao Chun said. Aya, the rest is not bad, okay? Yi Xiaoya was a little embarrassed. Then let's wait. Let's go back now. Maybe we can still make it in time for the Devil Gate conference. Xiao Chun said, and began to put on his clothes. Oh! Yi Xiaoya thought of business, and put on her clothes. When he was ready to leave, Xiao Chun's gaze finally fell on the rectangular box beside the white bones under the stone bed. After hesitating for a moment, Xiao Chun took it in his hand, then carried Yi Xiaoya and leaped up, releasing the Hades flame. Just like before, surrounded by the flames of the netherworld, the two of them rose rapidly, completely unaffected by the lava. By the way, what if the smiling Mithraea hasn't left yet? Yi Xiaoya was suddenly worried. Then beat him to death, Xiao Chun said calmly. There was an indescribable confidence in his words. You can beat him now? Yi Xiaoya was surprised. Even if I can't win, I won't suffer a loss, Xiao Chun said calmly. Great. Yi Xiaoya was overjoyed when she heard that. Then you can compete for the demon sect leader. At that time, I'll be your wife. Alright. Xiao Chun thought about it, and it seemed that it was really possible. Before, he had been thinking about how to destroy the demon sect grand meeting. If he snatched the position of the demon sect leader, wouldn't it be equivalent to destroying it? At that time, the worries of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau would be solved. During the conversation, the two of them had already flown out of the crater, but there was no one outside. The smiling Mithria probably estimated that Xiao Chun and Yi Xiaoya had already been burned to death, so he didn't continue to wait. Standing near the volcano, the first thing Xiao Chun had to do was to find the flying sword. Otherwise, he couldn't fly back so far. He hoped that the smiling Mithria wouldn't find it and take it away. Otherwise, Xiao Chun wouldn't have the materials to refine another one. Closing his eyes and sensing the surroundings, Xiao Chun waved his hand, and the flying sword rose from the sea. It turned out that it fell into the sea, but only the owner, Xiao Chun, could find it. Yi Xiaoya was surprised. She followed Xiao Chun on the flying sword and flew in the direction of Wutan town. Xiao Chun, you are so powerful. Can you teach me to learn special abilities? Yi Xiaoya said enviously. This shouldn't be possible. Xiao Chun shook his head. Cultivation was not something that everyone could do. Furthermore, the amount of resources he expended alone was already very shocking. Unless he had a fortuitous encounter in the future, it would be very troublesome to bring along another person to cultivate. Forget it. I'm just curious. Can our baby become a special ability user in the future? Asked Yi Xiaoya. This it should be possible. Xiao Chun didn't expect Yi Xiaoya to think so far ahead. She connected it to the baby, but at that time, he should already be a very advanced cultivator. It shouldn't be a problem to cultivate with another person. That's good. Yi Xiaoya nodded happily. Although his strength had improved, Xiao Chun's flying speed was still not very fast, due to the limitations of the flying sword's material. It was just a little faster than before. About half an hour later, Xiao Chun returned to the previous mountain range. There were no more joyful clan disciples at the foot of the mountain, and it was peaceful again. After flying for a distance, he landed on land with Yi Xiaoya. Wutan town was not far ahead. Xiao Chun didn't want others to see that he could fly. Currently, only the smiling Mithria knew about it. He probably wouldn't say it out loud. Who are you? The demon sect grand meeting is being held. Unauthorized personnel are not allowed to enter. Just as the two of them walked into the town, they were stopped at the door. These were two cultivators at the great perfection of the Demon Master level 10. The aura on their bodies was completely exposed. We are here to participate in the Demon Sect Grand Meeting, Xiao Chun said. We are disciples of the Devil Star Sect. Oh, the Grand Meeting has already begun. If you are here to participate, you should know about it, right? The gatekeeper looked at Xiao Chun and Yi Xiaoya and said, Are you here to fish in troubled waters? How is that possible? We are really disciples of the Devil Star Sect. As Yi Xiaoya said that, she took out her Devil Star Sect token and said, Take a look if you don't believe me. So what if you have a token? That only proves that you are from the Devil Star Sect. It doesn't prove that you are a participant. The gatekeeper said, All right, those who are here to watch the fun don't have to come. Why don't you just investigate our identities and names? Xiao Chun said coldly. Investigate? If I investigate everyone, then I don't have to do anything else. All right, hurry up and leave. The gatekeeper waved his hand impatiently. Is that so? Xiao Chun grabbed the collar of the gatekeeper and released his aura in an instant. His strength that was close to the middle stage of Devil General was completely revealed. Ah, you are a demon general. The gatekeeper turned pale with fright. Xiao Chun's strength was at least at the 4th or 5th layer of Devil General. This made his complexion suddenly change. This kind of person was the backbone of each sect, and he actually used that kind of arrogant attitude to talk to him. He was simply courting death. Don't worry about what I am. Are you going to investigate? Xiao Chun asked. No need to investigate. The gatekeeper said quickly. What? Xiao Chun lifted him up. No, I mean there is no need to investigate. Please come in. The gatekeeper said quickly. A powerful cultivator like you will definitely not lie. Oh, let's go. Xiao Chun put down the gatekeeper and swaggered into Wutan town with Yi Xiaoya. The Demon Gate conference was held in the central square of Wutan town. Yi Xiaoya brought Xiao Chun directly to the square. They stood at the outermost edge, and saw a person standing on the arena in the square. He was cupping his fists and smiling at everyone. Thank you for your support. Since no one else came to challenge me, then I, Ma Longting, will be disrespectful to refuse the position of the Demon Gate sect leader. This young man's age couldn't be seen. He was probably in his 30s, or maybe he took good care of himself. It's over? Xiaochen was stunned. It seems to be a challenge. No one else challenged him, so he naturally became the final winner. Yi Xiaoya said. Looks like I'm a step too late. Where is this person from? Xiaochen asked. He is the son of the Kuei Mountain sect leader Ma Baozhu. His name is Ma Longting, and his cultivation level is at the 4th level of the Demon General. Yi Xiaoya said. The competition this time limited the age. Only the younger generation of each sect can participate in the selection of the sect leader. To put it nicely, the future of the Demon Gate belongs to the younger generation. Among the younger generation, Ma Longting's strength is the highest. He is at the 4th level of the Demon General. Kuei Mountain Sect? Xiaochen quivered and jumped up. He passed the crowd and flew onto the arena. He stepped on the arena and mocked. Aren't some people celebrating too early? The people below haven't said that there are no more challengers. And you call yourself the Demon Gate sect leader? Who are you? Ma Longting was stunned, and a gloomy expression flashed across his face. In his opinion, the other party must have come up to slap his face on purpose. Otherwise, why didn't he come up earlier, and only came up when he was about to announce the results? And from the strength that this person displayed when he jumped onto the arena, he was definitely a demon general. He didn't come with good intentions. Fiend Star Sect disciple Xiaochen. Xiaochen said plainly, you can also call me Hero White Fox. Hero your head, Fiend Star Sect. Just a small sect. And you want to compete for the Demon Gate sect leader? You are overestimating yourself. Since you are not convinced, then very well. I will make you convinced. When he heard that Xiaochen was a disciple of the Fiend Star Sect, Ma Longting was instantly relieved. He thought that the other party was a rival sect looking for trouble. He didn't expect it to be a small sect, so there was nothing to be afraid of. One had to know that although the Kuei Mountain sect was the strongest sect in the outside world, there were some demon gates whose strength was on par with the Kuei Mountain sect. Some even surpassed the Kuei Mountain sect. However, the Kuei Mountain sect had a background and backing, so it became the #1 demon gate. It was normal for other sects to be unconvinced, but he didn't expect it to be the Fiend Star sect. Isn't that Xiaochen? Junior brother smiling face. This guy didn't die after falling into the volcano? Daoist Dian Long said to smiling face Methria beside him in surprise. That's strange. This kid really didn't die. Smiling face Methria was also shocked. And how did his strength become a demon general? Could it be that he was hiding his strength before? In his opinion, it was simply impossible for Xiaochen to increase his cultivation by so many levels in less than a month. Even if he had a fortuitous encounter, it was still impossible. So, the only possibility was that Xiaochen had been concealing his strength. Or it could be said that he wasn't hiding it on purpose, but because of some special reason, his strength was suppressed, and now it was released. You're tuning in to the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.